They came for vengeance, ready to burn the human realms to ash. But then she walked in the weakest woman in the world, standing alone against the rulers of the abyss. They thought she was a mistake. They didn't realize that in a world of cultivation, the most dangerous demon is the one who hides behind a human face. Her journey has just begun, and the status quo is about to shatter. Deep within the uncharted mountain forests of the mortal realm, an unprecedented sight unfolded. Thousands of demons, historically divided by species and bloodlines, gathered in a somber coalition to address an existential threat. 10 demon monarchs, the apex of their kind, sat in judgment. Their brow lines were heavy, clouded by the mystery of their disappearing kin. The tiger monarch, known for his ferocity, demanded unity. He pointed his finger towards the sky, blaming the ancient cultivation sects for the slaughter of their brethren. Yet doubt lingered. The wolf and snake monarchs questioned the logic. Why would the powerful sects suddenly break their long-standing truce? It did not add up. The eagle monarch shuddered as he described the scene. Bodies were not just killed, they were harvested, skinned, and hung like drying laundry upon the ancient trees. It was a butchery beyond any beastly instinct. The assembly erupted in a cacophony of roars and howls. The decision was final. They would march to war, slaughtering their way out of the forest to avenge their fallen kind. Even the timid rabbit monarch rose, fueled by the staggering losses his species had suffered. The cry for vengeance echoed across the valley. But then a single voice pierced the chaos. It was soft, lazy, and utterly out of place. The roar stopped instantly. The tiger monarch bellowed in rage, his eyes scanning the darkness. But the speaker remained hidden as if they were a ghost in the wind. Finally, the figure emerged. It was a woman, small and unassuming, climbing onto the dais with a look of pure, unadulterated boredom. The sight stunned the assembly. This frail, unremarkable human woman was the dissenter. The tiger monarch sneered, sensing no power from her whatsoever. He demanded to know what kind of demon she was. With a sigh, she uttered a simple, impossible truth. She was a human who had transmigrated into this world, a stranger lost in a land of monsters. The room fell deathly silent. The monarchs stared at her, then at each other, processing the sheer absurdity of the claim. She spoke with casual indifference. The ones they were hunting, the ones they called beasts worse than death, might be her. A moment of stunned silence broke into a tidal wave of bloodlust. The entire army of demons lunged as one. She didn't raise a blade, she didn't summon fire. She simply sighed, the exhaustion of a lazy person forced to work. The forest shook, the ground split. In a flurry of motion that defied physics, she moved, not like a warrior, but like someone clearing away bothersome dust. 5 minutes, that was all it took. The myriad demon congregation, a gathering of the most powerful beings in the realm, was reduced to a graveyard. The silence that returned was absolute. The curtain had fallen on the last stand of the demons, brought to an end by an unwilling protagonist. Back in the quiet of the forest, Shen Ying sat on the carcass of the tiger monarch. She was tired, and more importantly, she was hungry. She reached toward the rabbit monarch, intending to claim it as a late-night snack, but the monarch miraculously sprang back to life. Instead of fleeing, the monarch kowtowed, begging for mercy. He recognized the insurmountable power standing before him, the one who had wiped out the apex of his kind without effort. When he mentioned he was pregnant, Shen Ying didn't strike. Instead, she offered a simple, bizarrely human congratulations. She decided to spare him. The logic was simple. Supper was fattening, and she had no interest in killing little animals who were innocent of human blood. As she explained her dietary preferences, deer too tough, tigers protected, rabbits just right, the rabbit monarch felt the absurdity of the world shatter his reality. The monarch grasped at a final, desperate thread, a delivery service. He would provide the food provided she spared his kin. Surprisingly, Shen Ying agreed. She was Shen Ying, and with a simple introduction, the most terrifying entity in the woods retreated, leaving her to her solitude. Back in her straw cottage, Shen Ying finally breathed a sigh of relief. It was quiet. It was finally blissfully quiet. She had transmigrated 4 months ago, a soul displaced in a world of weird trees and talking beasts. She was an atheist, a homebody, and a lazy shut-in, totally ill-equipped for this survival horror. She soon realized she wasn't just surviving, she was invincible. She could uproot giant trees like scallions and withstand magical fire, her body an unbreakable wall. Peace, however, was fleeting. A bolt of lightning shattered her roof, and a stranger crashed into her yard, bleeding and broken. The villain Rui Mai followed, mocking the fallen man for his idealism. He intended to sacrifice the wounded man to his soul-devouring artifact. Shen Ying didn't care for righteous quests. She only cared that someone had disrupted her sleep. She stood up, her aura darkening. With a grip like steel, she swung him. Left, right, left, right. The sounds of impact reverberated as she grumbled about her ruined morning temper. Yi King could only watch in stunned silence before his mind finally gave way to the darkness of unconsciousness. When Yi King awoke days later, he found Shen Ying digging a hole. She seemed disappointed to find him alive. She had prepared his grave, after all. She fed him a rare iced ginseng as if it were a common vegetable. He was humbled by her kindness, unaware of her laziness. When the rabbit monarch returned, Yi King stood tall, ready to die to protect his benefactor, not realizing the power she truly held. He soon realized the truth. His benefactor was not a mortal, but an invincible force of nature, one who terrified demons into doing her house chores while she napped. In the wake of the sex crisis, the mystery of the past deepens as Shen Ying and Lone Moon share a meal. Shen Ying, once a simple village girl, and Lone Moon, formerly a powerful CEO, find their paths strangely entwined in this world of cultivation, leading to an unexpected revelation about their shared history. A horrific murder at Elixir Peak shatters the peace of the Black Heaven sect. Perfected Yu Ding has been brutally slain, and the signs of a fiendish cultivator are unmistakable. The sect is thrown into chaos, and the hunt begins. The shadows stretch, and disaster visits Yingyuan Peak. A bloodied intruder falls from the sky, landing directly in the middle of Shen Ying's dinner, setting the stage for a dangerous and bizarre alliance. Yi King and Lone Moon return to find their home in ruins. Using ancient arts, they uncover the truth. A wounded female fiend has abducted Shen Ying, leaving behind a trail of blood and mystery. Fear drives Yi King to chase after the kidnapper. He cares little for the sect's protocols or the dangers ahead. He only knows his master must be saved, even if his master is perfectly capable of saving herself. Beyond the sect's borders, the venomous witch Kai Chengyu struggles to suppress her wounds. She finds herself trapped not by chains, but by the maddening, directionless innocence of her captive. The hostage situation spirals into the mundane. Shen Ying, ever the foodie, demands a meal, breaking down the cold, calculated exterior of the powerful fiend Venerate. A strange bond forms under the moonlight. The fiend, usually surrounded by greed and death, finds an inexplicable, quiet comfort in the presence of a mortal who shows neither fear nor malice. In a display of sheer stupidity or profound kindness, Shen Ying offers her only prize to her captor. Kai Chengyu is stunned. In her world, betrayal is the only language spoken, and this act is incomprehensible. The peace is short-lived. Two ruthless fiends arrive, seeking to exploit Kai Chengyu's weakened state to boost their own cultivation. The air thickens with murderous intent. Just as the fiends move to attack, a subtle change occurs. A cold, absolute authority radiates from Shen Ying, and the attackers are suddenly paralyzed by a primal, overwhelming fear they cannot explain. The predators flee, driven by an instinctive knowledge that they have touched something beyond their comprehension. Shen Ying remains unbothered, her eyes back on the half-cooked chicken. The road ahead is clear, but the path to revenge remains treacherous. Kai Chengyu realizes that this mortal girl is far more than she appears, yet she cannot bring herself to stop her. The truth unfolds. Kai Chengyu speaks of her tragic past, of the benefactor who turned her into a human cauldron. Shen Ying listens, not with pity, but with a quiet, icy resolve. To reach the sword comprehension peak, one needs more than just a desire for justice. Shen Ying produces the impossible, a passage jade token, proving she is far more connected than she looks. With a flick of her hand, Shen Ying drags Lone Moon into the mix. The reunion is awkward and the confusion is palpable. The forces of good and evil are forced to reconcile their differences. Lone Moon is struck by the revelation that his own artifacts have been in the hands of a stranger. The questions mount, yet the mission to Sword Comprehension Peak takes precedence. The journey ends at the base of the Forbidden Peak. The air is thick with immortal Kai, and the three of them prepare to challenge the bastions of the righteous path. Before the final confrontation, a meal is deemed essential. Even in the face of destiny, Shen Ying's priority remains the quality of her lunch, leaving Lone Moon utterly speechless. The target emerges. Gan Zerui, the hypocrite who orchestrated Kai Chengyu's fall, reveals himself, his presence radiating the false sanctity of an orthodox cultivator. 500 years of hatred boil over. Kai Chengyu attacks with the ferocity of a lifetime of suppressed suffering, her blade singing with the pain of her past. While the battle rages below, Shen Ying bypasses all defenses, seating herself amongst the supreme masters at the summit. Her presence alone throws the ancient peak into confusion. The cycle of suffering ends. Kai Chengyu stands over her tormentor, the weight of a century finally lifted, her spirit both broken and liberated by the act of vengeance. With the threat neutralized, the party prepares to return. But Shen Ying has found a new enemy, parsley. Even in a world of monsters, some things are simply unforgivable. A new mission beckons. The Black Heaven sect requires an experiential training expedition, and Yi King is chosen to lead the charge. Shen Ying tags along, ensuring her supply of meat remains secure. The team arrives at a village plagued by a mysterious demon. An ambush is set, with nothing but a cage of chickens as bait, testing the patience and nerves of the young disciples. The demon is caught, but it is not a terrifying beast. It is a terrified civet cat demon, desperately trying to pay for its stolen chickens with gold, oblivious to the terror it has caused. The true threat reveals itself. A nine-tailed blood fox emerges, dripping in malice, its goal hidden in blood sacrifice. The night of the chickens was merely a distraction. Yi King unleashes true power, a rain of steel falling upon the blood fox. The forest trembles as swords and claws clash, the very earth cracking under the pressure of their battle. When the fox demon thinks it has trapped them in an ancient formation, Shen Ying simply ends the debate. One stomp is all it takes to reduce the complex history of the formation to dust. The fox dies, driven to madness by a love that could never be. Yet, a final, dark question lingers in the air, leaving the victors to ponder the secrets of forbidden lineages. The earth itself tears open as a colossal mountain pierces the sky. An ancient mystic realm has awakened, revealing secrets hidden since the dawn of time. Visitors from the upper world arrive, bringing arrogance and hidden agendas. They seek the secrets of the mystic realm, and the fragile peace of the sect begins to crumble. To survive the mystic realm, Lone Moon needs his strongest cards. He bribes Shen Ying with spirit stones, securing her participation in the upcoming expedition, despite her preference for hibernation. The gate opens. They step into a world of concentrated Kai and hidden danger. They are not merely explorers, they are intruders in a land that has been waiting for millennia. The forest is alive and hostile, but Shen Ying finds only opportunity. While others fear the beast kings, she views them as a potential feast, unperturbed by the perils surrounding them. In the heart of the ancient realm, they find not just danger, but life. A small, vibrant radish spirit emerges, a tiny witness to the grand history of the world they have just entered. In a mysterious mystic realm, Shen Ying accidentally claims a rare vegetation spirit, a sentient radish that acts as a magical compass for precious herbs. While Shen Ying is completely uninterested, her companions realize the immense value of this discovery, leading to a strange and comedic bond between the girl and the root. The radish unexpectedly blooms, revealing itself to be a legendary thousand leaves vegetation spirit, capable of turning any pill into a supreme-grade treasure. The realization shifts the mood, as they know this treasure is the reason powerful cultivators have entered the realm. As they travel, the sentient radish proves to be quite picky, rejecting Shen Ying's disinterest and eventually deciding to hitch a ride on the rather annoyed Lone Moon, marking the beginning of their journey through the realm. Leaving the lush forest behind, they arrive at a desolate, heat-scorched wasteland. The air is thick with violent energy, signaling that they have stepped into a domain far more dangerous than the forest. The wasteland suddenly erupts with deviant fire, a spiritual flame so intense it threatens to incinerate everything in its path. Trapped in a sea of flames, the group realizes they have stumbled into a deadly trap. Facing an impenetrable barrier that guards the source of the fire, Shen Ying discards complex strategy and resolves the problem with raw force, shattering the seal with a single decisive kick. The barrier gives way to reveal that the entire wasteland was simply the furnace of a massive, ancient, elixir-refining cauldron. They have been running in circles within the artifact all along. Just as they discover the truth, 3 hostile cultivators from the Upper Azure world arrive, tracking them down to steal the vegetation spirit, igniting a tense confrontation. The skirmish quickly escalates into a fierce battle. Despite the arrogance of the invaders, they find themselves matched against the combined strength and skill of the trio. When the traveling immortal King Lan attempts to overwhelm them, he discovers to his horror that Shen Ying's power far surpasses his own, as she catches his strike as if it were nothing. With a casual flick of her hand, Shen Ying launches the arrogant cultivator into the heart of the hidden immortal pavilion, shattering the structure upon his arrival. Inside the pavilion, the remnant soul of an ancient immortal appears, hoping to pass on his legacy to a worthy successor, only to be interrupted by Shen Ying's utter lack of interest. The immortal soul is utterly confused when he realizes Shen Ying has no spirit roots, rendering his entire inheritance process impossible and futile, leading to a comedic clash of expectations. As the others scramble for the legacy, Yóu Qián engages in a desperate duel to protect his master, showcasing his evolving skill against an opponent far above his station. In a display of ruthless desperation, the invader sacrifices his own companion to escape the fury of the sword strikes, revealing the dark, self-serving nature of the aristocratic families. Exasperated by the immortal soul's constant stalling and insistence on following an NPC script, Shen Ying delivers a physical blow to the spirit, demanding he open the final door immediately. Having reached the pill treasury, the desperate invader consumes an ancient immortal formation pill, hoping it will heal his broken bones and propel him to immortality, unaware that time has destroyed its efficacy. The pill fails spectacularly, as thousands of years of decay have turned the treasure into poison. The invader's power dissipates, leaving him broken and vulnerable to the consequences of his greed. Seeing the invader crippled, Yóu Qián insists on settling the score himself, treating it as a final test of his growth and his dedication to his master's teachings. The battle is fierce, with the invader unleashing forbidden techniques that tear the pavilion apart. Despite his wounds, Yóu Qián holds his ground, channeling every ounce of his spirit into his blade. Interrupted by the invader's final desperate attack, Shen Ying ends the stalemate by simply waving a broken sword, splitting the entire mystic realm and bringing the chaos to an immediate halt. Inspired by his master's effortless display, Yóu Qián experiences a sudden epiphany. His wounds vanish, his power elevates to the next stage, and he finishes the fight with a single precise movement. With the invader defeated, the group settles down to eat. Having finally earned the trust of the remnant soul, Lone Moon accepts the alchemical heritage, though he finds much of it outdated. They return to the Black Heaven sect triumphant. However, their arrival is met with immediate danger as a massive lotus ship filled with members of the Xuan family descends upon the sect. The Xuan family demands the trio as recompense for their losses. The sect's leadership, driven by self-preservation, betrays their loyalty, causing Lone Moon and Yóu Qián to sever their ties. Choosing freedom over the betrayal of their peers, the trio leaves the sect behind forever, setting out into the horizon to protect one another against the aristocratic family's wrath. When the Xuan family's experts hunt them down, Shen Ying makes light work of the ambush, leaving the once feared traveling immortals stacked like firewood while she prepares her next meal. Taking the fight to their doorstep, Shen Ying infiltrates the heart of the Xuan family's palace, bringing their elders along as captives to deliver a final, stern warning. After a brief but decisive clash, Shen Ying successfully negotiates a trade, leaving the pride of the aristocratic family shattered and their most guarded treasures in her possession. Word of their power spreads through the upper world, but Shen Ying is dismayed to realize the legends credit only her companions, leaving her completely unrecognized despite her role. Back at their hideout, the radish spirit consumes the withered remains of its kind, triggering a sudden and miraculous evolution as it absorbs the ancient power. The radish spirit undergoes a transformation, taking on a beautiful human form. Though its appearance is angelic, its personality remains as petty and mischievous as the vegetable it once was. Their mundane life continues as they are chased by a restaurant owner for an unpaid bill, reminding them that even heroes have to deal with the trivialities of daily life. The unpaid bill leads to local notoriety, as restaurants across the town post signs banning them, forcing the trio to consider their next move in this alien world. With no family willing to shelter them, they decide to strike out on their own, setting out to establish their own sect, one that will stand defiant against the powerful families of the upper world. They return to the demon realm, cornering the timid rabbit monarch, who cowers in fear as Shen Ying asks for help in finding the perfect spot for their new legendary sect. With the rabbit monarch's help, they secure a mountain filled with spirit energy, building a grand palace. Now, all they need are disciples brave enough to join the invincible sect. Deep within the treacherous demon realm, a place where no immortal should dwell, Shen Ying leads her new followers to the secret grounds of the invincible sect. For Shen Ying, formerly a mortal woman who found herself transmigrated into this realm of cultivation, this hidden sect is home, though her bewildered recruits realize with horror that their new master's sect seems suspiciously empty. Despite the grand expectations of her new disciples, Shen Ying displays a startling lack of decorum. With a single word about being tired, she collapses into a nap, leaving her new recruits confused as to whether this is a test of their patience or simply the nature of their unconventional sect master. Yu Hong, desperate for direction, pleads with Shen Ying for instructions or registration. But the sect master seems barely aware of their existence, dismissively telling them to wait for Father Niu, as if recruiting disciples was merely an afterthought in their quiet, secluded life. When asked where the rest of the sect members are, Shen Ying points to herself, Yi King, and Lone Moon. The realization sinks in. This massive, opulent estate is maintained by only 3 people and a radish. The group is left speechless, grappling with the absurdity of a sect that seems to have no rules, no members, and no professional decorum. Unable to provide traditional cultivation guidance, Shen Ying decides to solve the most pressing problem at hand: hunger. She asks the disciples if they can cook, completely oblivious to their desire for spiritual enlightenment. The disciples, determined to serve, find themselves quickly repurposed as kitchen staff. When Lone Moon returns, he is met with the sight of his elite new disciples sweating over pots and pans. He is horrified. This is supposed to be a legendary cultivation sect, not a communal kitchen. His frustration is palpable, yet Shen Ying remains perfectly satisfied, waiting for her meal. The situation spirals further as Yi King enters, his face as dark as a storm cloud. He declares that Shen Ying hates sweet bean curd, treating the dish as an insult to her. He effectively destroys the food, terrorizing the recruits with his intense, possessive aura as a sword cultivator. Finally establishing order, Lone Moon gathers the group to formally initiate them into the invincible sect. He demands to know their cultivation history, but sensing their hesitation and the low-level techniques they recite, he realizes they are hiding deep, dangerous secrets. When prompted to test their skills, Shen Ying offers her own unique, confusing assessment, asking for freestyle moves. Lone Moon is driven to the brink of a mental breakdown, realizing that his partner's understanding of cultivation is as unconventional as her social skills. Under the cover of night, the true motives of the group surface. Fearing that their secrets will be exposed and realizing they are not safe, they whisper about fleeing to the lower realm, desperate for freedom and terrified of their past persecutors. Their escape is cut short when Shen Ying appears out of thin air, having overheard them bad-mouthing men. She reveals that she has been staying in the room right next to them, completely unbothered by their presence until they started whispering near her headboard. Panic takes hold of Yu Hong. Knowing their secret is compromised, she desperately applies an immobilizing seal to Shen Ying and leads the girls in a desperate flight from the sect, hoping to reach the lower realm before anyone realizes they are gone. The group reaches the rendezvous point in Upper Azure Town, trusting a middleman to guide them through a void transportation array. However, they are being lured into a trap, unaware that the path they are walking on is leading toward their greatest tormentor. The trap snaps shut. Zhen Xiang, a branch member of the Yu family, reveals himself. He had been tracking them all along, colluding with the middleman to corner them, and now he intends to finish what he started and silence them forever. As Zhen Xiang launches a lethal strike at Yu Hong, Shen Ying steps forward. With a casual movement that defies the laws of their world, she intercepts his powerful Dharma artifact as if it were a child's toy, silencing the battlefield with her sheer, unexplained strength. With one swift, violent motion, Shen Ying hurls Zhen Xiang into the earth. The impact is so immense that it tears the town apart, destroying streets and houses, leaving the disciples in a state of absolute, traumatized shock at the hidden power of their sect master. Without waiting for the dust to settle, Shen Ying casually suggests they continue their journey to settle matters with the remaining villain at Sky Severance Cliff, treating a dangerous mission like a morning trip to buy vegetables. Back at the sect, Lone Moon and Yi King return to find Shen Ying being pampered by the girls, who are desperate to repay her for their rescue. Yi King is immediately offended by the quality of the food, claiming it's unfit for her. Learning they wish to join a sect on Mingyin Mountain, Shen Ying pens a letter of recommendation for them. Though they are destined for the path of others, their newfound reverence for Shen Ying is unshakable, leading them to a pivotal decision about their future. The disciples, having realized the true value of strength after witnessing Shen Ying's intervention, choose to abandon their previous plans. They kneel, pledging their loyalty to the invincible sect, determined to train under her guidance regardless of the hardship ahead. Yi King's protective nature goes into overdrive. Fearing Shen Ying might be taken again, he stands guard every night. Shen Ying, exhausted by his lack of sleep, eventually manages to convince him to rest, but the chef's devotion remains as sharp as his sword skills. With Yi King busy experimenting in the kitchen, Lone Moon takes on the mantle of teacher. He discovers the brutal truth about their past. Their meridians are damaged and poisoned. He pivots their training towards sword cultivation, hoping their sheer can overcome their physical scars. The girls' training is fueled by a desire to be as fearless as their master. When Siyu asks for advice on her sword moves, Shen Ying casually suggests that strength is what matters most, a piece of advice that would unintentionally steer them toward a much more brutal path. Lone Moon is horrified when he discovers the result. The girls have abandoned sword cultivation for body cultivation. They aren't refining their swords, they are refining their own bodies into weapons. Their progress is terrifying, and Lone Moon realizes his dream of delicate sword maidens is long dead. The path of a body cultivator is unforgiving, and Siyu's tribulation is a testament to that. As lightning shatters and rebuilds her meridians, she endures 81 strikes, completing her core formation. She emerges not as a fragile scholar, but as a force of nature. Lone Moon decides to enter the sect into the intersect competition. He sees it as the perfect marketing opportunity to recruit more disciples, unaware that his current disciples are about to shock the entire world with their unorthodox training and raw power. At the competition, the girls face ridicule for their appearance. The casual cruelty of others stings, but Shen Ying, witnessing this, tells them to forget friendship and simply crush their opponents, turning their shame into fuel for their fighting spirit. The patriarch of the Chuan Yuan family notices Shen Ying and panics, rushing to pay his respects. The other aristocratic families, including the Yu family, watch in confusion as the powerful Chuan Yuan patriarch acts like a subordinate, creating a stir in the audience. Before the competition begins, Shen Ying distributes defensive bells refined by Yi King. The disciples treat these gifts as holy relics, their loyalty to Shen Ying reaching a fever pitch that makes Lone Moon wonder if they are still disciples or fanatical followers. In the finals, Siyu proves herself a formidable combatant. Despite being outmatched in cultivation, her resilience and sword techniques hold the stage. The crowd watches in stunned silence as the invincible sect shows its true mettle. When her defensive bell is destroyed, Siyu's composure shatters. She taps into her body cultivation, transforming into a powerhouse. The arena echoes with the sounds of her fists as she relentlessly beats her opponent, leaving the judges and audience completely traumatized. At an invitation banquet hosted by the Yin family, Shen Ying is greeted by a sign explicitly forbidding her entry, unaware that it was meant for a group of notorious Dine Dash artists who happen to share a name with her. While Yin Feng attempts to glean intelligence from their party, Lone Moon engages in a high-stakes business negotiation, securing a contract for spirit herbs that leaves the patriarch wondering how he just got outfoxed by a small sect. The romantic tension between Siyu and the Yin family heir grows. Siyu seeks counsel from Shen Ying, who offers the simplest, most direct advice. Do what makes you happy, and don't let the past dictate your future choices. The Yu family, desperate to maintain control, kidnaps Yu Hong and Siyu, accusing them of being runaway slaves. The act ignites a confrontation, with the Yin and Xu and Yuan families pulled into the brewing conflict. The Yu family's audacity proves their undoing. Shen Ying, enraged by Yu Hong's injuries, reduces the Yu estate to rubble in minutes. The patriarch, broken and shattered, is forced to admit where her stolen plant companion is hidden. Back home, an assassin from the soul-chasing tower arrives seeking vengeance for their destroyed headquarters, only for his own AI system to force him to grovel in fear. Shen Ying is left standing, bewildered as her latest enemy collapses into tears at her feet. Lone Moon confronts the mysterious Feng Ying, discovering a bizarre system bound to the man's soul, which ironically claims to be a parenting guide in a world of immortals. The system reveals Feng Ying's embarrassing history to the entire sect, much to his horror and Shen Ying's amusement. Lone Moon tricks the traumatized Feng Ying into a business deal, turning a foe into a source of profit for the invincible sect. An unexpected challenge from the Bright Heart sect reaches the invincible sect, testing the resolve of its members while the leaders are away. A desperate and injured guest arrives at the gates, carrying grave news about the aristocratic families being trapped within a mysterious pagoda. The disgraced Yu Heng returns with a vengeance, leading a powerful group of cultivators to infiltrate the sect and destroy everything in his path. Facing overwhelming odds, Feng Ying is forced to defend the sect alone, pushed by his system to protect the sleeping sect master at all costs. Disturbed from her sleep, an infuriated Shen Ying unleashes a terrifying power that instantly shifts the tide of the battle, leaving the intruders trembling. With ruthless efficiency, Shen Ying dismantles the entire invading force, treating the powerful cultivators like playthings in a fit of post-nap rage. Calmness returns only after Yu Hong offers a simple meal, proving that the sect's survival depends entirely on the satisfaction of the sect master's appetite. News of the immortal Ascension Pagoda spreads, revealing it to be a trap designed to harvest the souls and cultivation of the greatest masters. Inside the dangerous pagoda, Yi King faces his inner demons, using his iron will to navigate the treacherous traps set by the ancient Yu ancestors. Forced to fight his companion who is trapped by an illusion, Yi King uses his master's harsh training methods to wake his friend up. With their companions awakened, Yi King resolves to climb to the final level alone to find the source of the evil energy and end the threat. Yi King reaches the top, only to be confronted by 5 resurrected masters who have traded their humanity for dark, perfected immortal power. Shen Ying arrives at the peak, utterly oblivious to the danger, casually interrupting the villainous Yóu Qián while looking for her missing chef. Yóu Qián's grand plan to become a perfect demon is shattered by Shen Ying, who is far more concerned about her interrupted meal than the fate of the world. After a 2-week recovery, Yi King awakens to find himself carefully tended by his master, while Lone Moon watches with lingering annoyance. Lone Moon finally finds peace with his own path, realizing that comparison is a trap and experiencing a massive breakthrough in his cultivation. The invincible sect is invited to the Yi family estate, where Shen Ying begins her hunt for spirit beasts while causing chaos for the local fauna. Shen Ying discovers a mystical, powerful beast hiding in a cave, only to find the creature oddly submissive to her touch. The search for a new contract beast takes them to the dangerous Mirage Sea, where unforeseen threats loom beneath the surface. The island they stand upon is revealed as a colossal cloud-bearing beast, which reacts violently to the presence of the intruders. The mysterious creature from the Yi estate by Z reveals his true divine form, intercepting the attack and saving the group. Facing an entire tide of demonic marine beasts, Shen Ying ends the battle with a single, overwhelming strike that leaves everyone stunned. After the battle, Shen Ying turns the battlefield into a banquet, forcing the divine beast by Z to assist in the preparations. Shen Ying proves that her true goal in the Mirage Sea was not beast taming, but securing high-quality ingredients for the sect's larder. Under the guidance of Bai Zi, the repentant worm forms a master-servant contract with Yi Feng, ensuring a powerful new ally for the Yi family. The return journey to the sect is interrupted as the divine beast Bai Zi decides to follow them back, bringing a sacred gift to the sect master. The unexpected arrival of the Yi family delegation at their gates leaves the sect leaders scrambling to handle the sudden influx of guests. Safe at home, Shen Ying reflects on the wild journey, content that her sect is secure and her storage bag is full of fresh ingredients. While others celebrate, the dedicated Yi King continues his intense cultivation, striving to become even stronger for his master. Lone Moon reviews the sect's finances, realizing the recent adventures have bolstered their influence and resources significantly. Despite the constant turmoil, the invincible sect remains a sanctuary, held together by the quirky bonds of its powerful members. As the sun sets over the mountain, the future remains uncertain, but for Shen Ying, as long as there is good food, everything will be fine. Deep within the invincible sect, the once quiet peak erupted in brilliant golden light. Yi King, the sect's devoted disciple, emerged from a 3-month seclusion, his strength having transcended into the late stages of soul formation, a testament to the overflowing spirit energy of their sanctuary. Upon returning, Yi King discovered an unexpected guest. A man in white, radiating an ancient, ethereal aura, sat close to his master, offering fruits with a smile that Yi King found deeply irritating. The air between the master's protector and the mysterious outsider grew heavy with static. It was an unspoken challenge, a battle for proximity to Shen Ying, veiled behind forced politeness. Lone Moon intervened to introduce the guests. Yi Feng, patriarch of the Yi family, was presented alongside the enigmatic Bai Zi, a legendary creature whose very presence in the mortal realm defied ancient texts. As Shen Ying suggested a celebration, Yi King's professional habits kicked in. For the first time, he hesitated, concerned more with guarding his master than with the culinary feast she requested. The tension was broken when Bai Zi presented a gift. A black spirit blossom, a treasure of the spirit race, bloomed in his hand, radiating pure spirit energy that transfixed everyone present. The radish, territorial over his master, threw a tantrum. But as he spoke, the others were struck by a sudden, chilling biological realization, their expressions darkening as they quickly silenced the plant spirit. Sensing the danger, Lone Moon quickly moved to neutralize the situation, ushering the guests away. The atmosphere was strained, a silent battle being waged beneath the pleasantries of hosting. Old habits died hard. Even as they departed, the silent war continued. With neither willing to concede the task of feeding the master, they found themselves locked in a tug-of-war over a simple plate. Shen Ying watched the bickering with bewilderment, wondering if the two were flirting or simply losing their minds. She remained blissfully unaware of the profound jealousy driving their petty squabbles. Yi King finally voiced his suspicions. He warned Shen Ying that this Bai Zi was far from a simple guest, fearing he harbored darker intentions toward their sect's master. When cornered by Lone Moon, Bai Zi was unable to hide his true purpose. The flower was no mere gift. It was a testament to a growing, awkward, and deeply confusing romantic intent. Shen Ying's realization was sudden and blunt. The furball, a legendary ancient creature, was trying to hit on her. The silence that followed was heavy with shock and disbelief. The warnings continued into the next morning. Yi King, deeply protective, tried to convince his master to distance herself from the beast, his words fueled by a lifetime of protective devotion. Even Lone Moon joined the chorus of disapproval. He made it clear that while she was free to find a companion, Bai Zi was absolutely forbidden. The strange, protective instinct of their group had never been more unified. Yi Feng shed light on the truth of Bai Zi's history. For tens of thousands of years, the Yi family had served as his keepers, bound by a promise to help the divine beast return to the celestial realms. The flower, it was claimed, held the power to shatter the realm gates. Shen Ying, ever the pragmatist, was unconvinced until she squeezed the delicate petals with her own hand. With a mere clench of her fist, she didn't just break a flower, she tore a hole in the fabric of reality itself. A flickering white lightning-like crack appeared, pulsing with cosmic energy. Effortlessly, as if tearing a sheet of parchment, she widened the gate. The path to the divine realm was open, a feat that had eluded humanity for eons, achieved in seconds by a gluttonous master. The gate was open, yet Bai Zi stood frozen. The desire to return home warred with his newfound, desperate wish to stay. He was looking for any reason to ignore the call of the divine. The goodbyes were abrupt. Shen Ying, sensing the awkwardness, urged him to leave, her dismissive wave signaling the end of his short, tumultuous stay in their mountain home. It was not a dignified exit. With a swift, coordinated effort, the guardians of the invincible sect ensured he made his departure, his reluctant form vanishing into the blinding white light of the gateway. The deed done, the sect members returned to their domestic normalcy. The gate sealed, and the threat of the lovesick beast was gone, leaving behind only the question of what he truly was. Over dinner, the questions turned inward. Shen Ying pressed Lone Moon on the true nature of Bai Zi, knowing he had read the script of this world's story, a story that felt disturbingly like a teenage girl's dream. Lone Moon struggled to articulate the dangers. The characters in the book possessed catastrophic traits, and proximity to them brought ruin. Bai Zi was no villain, but he was a catalyst for disaster. As the conversation drifted, Shen Ying's gaze drifted to the blue heavens above. For a fleeting second, she saw something no one else could, a gateway opening in the sky far beyond the reach of human eyes. The sect's growth became a source of new headaches. Recruitment season had arrived, and the disciples returned with hundreds of newcomers. They were talented, certainly, but all possessed an unusual affinity for physical strength. Lone Moon felt the dream of a refined, sword-cultivating sect slipping away. Instead of graceful warriors, he had an army of enthusiastic bodybuilders chanting slogans, sounding more like a cult than a sect. But larger problems were imminent. Lone Moon had perfected his cultivation. The lightning tribulation was upon him, the violet fury of the heavens descending to test his worthiness for immortality. The ordeal was brutal. Each bolt hammered into his body, shattering his defenses. Yet the disciples of the invincible sect sat a safe distance away, enjoying snacks and watching the spectacle as if it were a local performance. As the final, forbidden bolt of the tribulation descended, Shen Ying had enough. She reached into the air and physically grabbed the strike, stopping it inches from Lone Moon's head with a cold, sharp glare. She tugged, and down tumbled a robed figure, an intruder who had manipulated the heavens. With a single, forceful stamp, she buried the culprit, demanding answers for the illicit strikes. The intruder, an immortal from the higher realms, sneered in defiance until he faced the unrelenting strength of the sect master. He confessed the truth. The path to immortality was being blocked by design. The revelations were chilling. The Azure world was not a natural realm, but a resource farm, a construct designed to harvest spiritual energy for an immortal's selfish ambition. The day of reckoning was at hand. With the secret exposed, the time for caution passed. Invincible sect stood ready. They were no longer just a sect, but the final resistance against a celestial master who sought to burn their reality to ash. The heavens were bright with the golden light of the invading immortals, but below, the invincible sect did not cower. With Shen Ying at the helm, the path to defiance was forged, and the realm stood on the precipice of a new, independent dawn. Life in the 9 firmaments had taken a strange turn. As a sword cultivator who had recently transmigrated and ascended to become a Stygian immortal, Yi King was more concerned with the kitchen than the blade. Shen Ying, the sect master, simply watched as he treated the immortal realm like his personal restaurant. Bao Feiping watched in disbelief. He had expected a great battle, not a catering service. The atmosphere was absurd as the 2 immortals ate with gusto while the city lord stood by, confused by their casual behavior. The dinner ended, and the purpose of the visit surfaced. The Bao family had a request. They wanted the sword immortal Yi King to take the young Ning Zian as his disciple. They believed their fates were intertwined by their innate sword constitutions. Lone Moon immediately sensed a trap. The name Ning Zian was not just any name. It was the name of the male lead from a novel he had read in his past life, a character who brought ruin to all around him. He felt an urgent need to stop this arrangement. Refusal followed. Lone Moon dragged the others away, his nerves frayed. He knew better than to let their sect become entangled in the chaotic plot of a Mary Sue romance. They fled the city, leaving a baffled Bao family behind. Back at Invincible Sect, The energy Yi King had absorbed from the mirror began to surge. A breakthrough was inevitable. With a firm resolve, he prepared to face the heavenly tribulation, though his only real worry remained Shen Ying's next meal. The heavens roared. Lightning and fire rained down, a tribulation far more vicious than anything in the lower realm. Yet Yi King stood resolute. He was not just breaking through one stage. The heavens were throwing everything they had at him. 108 shots of wildfire. Lone Moon watched the sky, his heart racing. This wasn't normal. Yi King was breaking through two stages at once, shattering the natural laws of the heavens. It was clear that the rules of this world were being bent. With the crisis averted, Lone Moon finally revealed the truth about the novel. He explained the twisted, abusive plot where the male lead, Ning Xian, caused the destruction of everyone who crossed his path. Shen Ying listened, unimpressed, focused only on her pastries. Shen Ying pressed for more details, her questions about the male lead's relationships making Lone Moon increasingly flustered. He was desperate to make her understand the danger, but she seemed more interested in the gossip than the impending doom. When the talk turned to the gates of the demon realm, Lone Moon was dismissive until Shen Ying casually pointed to the sky. She had seen it, and it was exactly as she described, heavy, tall, and marked with rings in the mouths of baboons. 10 days later, Yi King returned. He was now a Stygian immortal, a force to be reckoned with. But as always, his first concern was his master. He had no interest in titles. He only wanted to ensure that Shen Ying was well-fed and safe. They returned to Shuang City. From the sky, the true nature of the city was revealed. The entire layout was not a city at all, but a giant seal in the shape of a gate, built to keep the demon realm locked away. The revelation was chilling. The immortal meridian itself was the seal. With a wave of his hand, Bao Feiping revealed the black, cold core underneath, the true gates of the demon realm lying in wait. The panic was absolute. Months later, the Bao family arrived at the invincible sect, desperate for refuge after Shuang City was closed. While the elders discussed politics, Shen Ying played a cruel game with the young boy, eating pastries right in front of his hungry face. To discourage the Bao family from pushing their son into the sect, Lone Moon orchestrated a demonstration. He chose Siyu, a seemingly delicate girl, to show the guests what real training looked like in the invincible sect. With a grunt, the delicate girl transformed into a powerhouse of raw, physical strength. The cliff crumbled instantly. The Bao family watched in sheer horror, realizing the sect was filled not with graceful swordsmen, but with terrifying body cultivators. The mystery of the male lead deepened. Yi King had found something unnatural during his treatment of the child. The boy's Danshan had no natural resistance, suggesting his soul was not entirely his own. The sect was on edge. The inevitable happened. Demonic Kai exploded from the hall where the Bao family resided. The gates were not in the city, they were inside the boy. The male lead had become the vessel for the very thing meant to destroy the world. As the gates opened, Shen Ying didn't reach for a sword. She reached for the closest thing available, a giant dried fish. She hurled it with all her might, striking the boy and the gate simultaneously. The gate broke open, not from magic, but from a fish-induced impact. Shen Ying didn't hesitate. She dove straight into the demon realm, leaving the others behind to deal with the chaos she had started. In the demon realm, Shen Ying was a force of nature. She didn't negotiate. She simply demolished anyone who crossed her path until the demon king himself was begging for mercy, bewildered by the human who was stronger than a celestial being. The demon king was forced to play surgeon. Under Shen Ying's watchful, intimidating eye, he successfully extracted the demonic seed that had been warping the boy's soul. The boy's transformation halted, replaced by a lingering, pale weakness. As they emerged back into the mortal world, a single decisive strike from the heavens obliterated the demon gate. It was gone, leaving only the memory of fear and the burden of a new infant soul created from the extracted darkness. The Bao family was left with a new, mysterious infant, while the invincible sect returned to its routine. Lone Moon realized the demonic energy, once trapped, became a perfect training ground for the sect's growth. The peace was short-lived. A red token arrived, a summons from the immortal emperor. Yi King was being called to the capital for a reward. Shen Ying once again found her routine interrupted. The journey to the capital was long. The city was a wonder of gold and jade, floating high above the clouds, far beyond the humble surroundings of the invincible sect. It was a place of immense power and hidden dangers. Lone Moon immediately got to work. He lured the richest alchemist in the capital, Yóu Qián, into a partnership. He marketed the demonic Kai back at the sect as a holy place for training, once again proving his genius for turning misfortune into profit. Yi King returned with a task. The immortal emperor hadn't just given him a city, he had tasked him with a sword quest to find a divine weapon in the dangerous Yulin immortal territory. It was a test, or perhaps a trap. They sought out young Emperor Zun Shu to secure an access pass. He was vain, dramatic, and obsessed with his aesthetic. He demanded they open a spirit-absorbing box as a test, an impossible task for ordinary mortals. Shen Ying didn't understand the rules. She simply destroyed the box with her bare hands, accidentally crushing the divine sword hidden inside to dust. Zun Shu was left speechless, his ego and his weapon both shattered. The negotiation turned into a frantic escape. Shen Ying realized her mistake too late and fled, with a hysterical, mud-covered young emperor in pursuit. It was the start of a very chaotic alliance. Eventually, the chaos settled into a reluctant partnership. They boarded a river of souls, heading toward the Yu Feng immortal city. The journey was filled with tension, with a young emperor forced into their service. Even in the heart of danger, the invincible sect remained true to itself. Before crossing the final threshold to the city, they insisted on a proper meal. The immortal territory would have to wait for the chef to finish his cooking. They reached the hidden entrance. The soul zither array had played tricks on them for days, but the path was finally clear. The entrance to the center of the immortal realm stood open before them, beckoning with secrets of the ancients. The final test awaited. Shen Ying, the enigma of the sect, and her companions prepared to step into the uncharted depths of the world, unaware of the divine weapon that was destined to be found or destroyed by their hand. The journey into the unknown leads our travelers to the gates of the volcanic sword mound, a place where history and danger are forged in fire, as they step forward into the heart of an ancient trial. Zun Shu's laughter rings hollow, his anxiety betraying a secret history with this place, while his companions remain suspiciously unbothered by his obvious deception. As the portal clears, the horizon reveals not a mountain, but a graveyard of steel, the legendary sword mound, where immortal blades hum with dormant, dangerous power. The swords react to their presence, crying out in a chorus of metallic sorrow, signaling that no living soul has walked these paths for eons. They reach the chasm, where the heat is countered by a wall of ancient ice, hiding a trap made of condensed immortal energy that defies destruction. Zun Shu warns of the array's invincibility, but he has forgotten who accompanies him. With a single, brutal display of sword intent, the indestructible bubbles shatter into dust. The impossible has been undone in a heartbeat, leaving their guides stunned as the group proceeds into the darkness of the mountain's core. The path ahead is unsettlingly clean, crafted with a design that hints at a civilization far more organized and sinister than a mere natural volcano. The silence of the tunnel is broken by a metallic clang, the signal for a far deadlier threat to awaken from its slumber. The myriad image sword array reveals itself, a legend of terror that even the divine beings fear, now standing between them and the secrets of the volcano. Calculations of risk versus reward lead the group to a sudden decision. The treasure here is not worth the potential cost of their lives. With their retreat already in motion, Zun Shu makes one final, desperate gamble, exposing the presence of the legendary six-joint mystic sword. Divine weapons are nothing but magnets for trouble, a fact that our protagonists understand better than anyone else, leaving their guide baffled by their lack of greed. But for the disciple, this is no longer just about survival. It is a test of his sword path, a challenge that his master finally allows him to face. He dives into the heart of the storm, blood beginning to mark his white robes as the array adapts to his every move with lethal precision. As he nears his breaking point, the master provides the only guidance she knows, words that sound like nonsense but hold the core truth of the sword. A single phrase shatters the logic of the array, bringing millions of blades to a halt as the disciple attains a sudden, transcendent epiphany. He stands triumphant, his presence suppressing the atmosphere, as the legendary myriad image sword array falls to his newfound clarity. They emerge into the heart of the volcano, where the air burns with deviant flames and the legendary sword awaits its fated owner. The divine weapon is trapped in a void, unreachable by normal means. But to a master who views the world with indifference, the laws of the universe are merely suggestions. Without hesitation, she hands over the prize of a lifetime to their guide, who stands frozen in disbelief at such casual generosity. With the sword gone, their focus shifts to the source of the heat, proving that to the invincible sect, the utility of the table far outweighs the prestige of the weapon. Bound by duty and history, Zun Shu recounts the tragedy of his people, hoping to justify his manipulation, but his audience remains preoccupied with the coming dinner. They depart the territory with bags overflowing, only to be intercepted by the waiting emperor who demands his cut of the spoils. The realization hits the emperor. His plans have been outplayed, and the divine treasure he coveted is now firmly in the hands of the very man he underestimated. Returning to the sect, the coffers overflow with the rewards of their cunning, proving that a well-placed talisman is far more profitable than a stolen sword. With the business thriving, the sect turns their attention to arming themselves, forcing their newfound ally to work to his breaking point. But a sudden silence falls upon the sect when their master, usually the first to dinner, slips into a mysterious, deep sleep that defies all medicine. The investigation into her condition uncovers a poisoned leaf, a silent weapon of an emperor that triggered a soul-binding curse. With the truth revealed, the disciple departs in a flash of fury, set on a collision course with an emperor who dared to touch his master. Lost between realms, her wandering spirit finds itself in the mortal world, where fate weaves a path for a girl born under the shadow of overwhelming misfortune. The girl is a magnet for disaster, suffering through a life where every step is a stumble, yet she remains defiant in the face of constant malice. The tranquility of the mortal plane is shattered by the descent of gods, as the battle between two demon immortals threatens to wipe the village off the map. Meanwhile, the capital city has become a graveyard of ambition. The disciple has laid the emperors of the continent to rest, leaving nothing but broken stone in his wake. The master returns to the world of the living, only to find her disciple broken and bleeding, his loyalty pushed to the absolute edge of mortal endurance. The sect expands, bringing in the fated girl from the mortal realm, unaware that her arrival signals a shift in the very plot they fought so hard to outrun. As the dust settles, the sect finds itself buried in the oddest of treasures, realizing that their home has become a garden for a disciple who takes cooking perhaps a little too seriously. After a month at the invincible sect, the young girl known as Xuan Tong continued her daily ritual of leaving offerings at the window of the sect's master, Shen Ying, a habit that persisted despite Shen Ying's attempts to stop her. A playful confrontation broke out when the young child encountered Radish. The plant creature, deeply protective of its role as the sole giver of flowers to Shen Ying, aggressively demanded that the girl stop her offerings. When summoned before the elders, Xuan Tong admitted that her offerings were acts of gratitude for divine immortal, keeping her promise. Lone Moon sighed, realizing that while her intentions were pure, they were causing chaos in the sect. Seeing the child's distress, Shen Ying stepped in. She decided to teach the girl a lesson, instructing her to return everything to where it came from first, effectively making the child clean up her own mess. The discussion shifted to the girl's cultivation. Yu Hong explained that Xuan Tong, possessing a rare water elemental spirit root and a pure yin body type, was unsuited for the sect's standard training or Bidao's fire elemental path. Kai Chengyu stepped forward, volunteering to guide Xuan Tong. She revealed the immense difficulty of her own 500-year journey, having purged her demonic path to recultivate as an immortal. The council was interrupted by Shen Ying, who casually dropped a bombshell. The young girl harbored a demonic seed. The revelation left everyone stunned and shifted the entire perspective of their future training plans. Lone Moon was horrified to realize the lotus mark was connected to the heart-cleansing lotus, a powerful artifact used to seal a mental demon. The girl's lifelong misfortune was the price paid for this spiritual containment. Just as they despaired over the girl's cursed luck, a mysterious system prompt rang out, and an attribute-balancing necklace manifested, offering a glimmer of hope to stabilize her chaotic fortune. 4 years passed. With the necklace, Xu Tong's luck improved, though her growth as a cultivator slowed. She remained devoted to her training, eventually becoming a formidable young cultivator under the subtle guidance of Kai Chengyu. Observing the mountain peak, Shen Ying noticed a strange phenomenon. The demonic fog that had long blanketed the area was beginning to dissipate, suggesting an unseen presence was drawing the energy away. Hidden at the bottom of the hill, a man in black robes, Lan Hua, channeled his energy, desperately absorbing the demonic fog to cleanse his immortal bones and ascend to the status of a true skyfiend. The absorption was interrupted by the appearance of Shen Ying. Lan Hua, startled and confused by her intrusion, was caught off guard by her serene presence amidst such dangerous, corruptive energy. Attempting to silence the witness, Lan Hua launched a lethal strike, but Shen Ying merely offered him a fruit, confusing him completely and stalling his murderous intent with a baffling act of kindness. The simple gift triggered a dormant shred of good-heartedness within him, a side he had spent millennia suppressing. His body rebelled against his will to harm her, forcing him into a chaotic struggle against his own nature. Driven by his uncontrollable good-heartedness, Lan Hua surrendered, showering Shen Ying with his collection of immortal treasures in a desperate attempt to regain his own focus and rid himself of the burden of kindness. When Lone Moon and Yi King arrived, they found Shen Ying buried under a mountain of immortal weapons. She claimed the treasures came from a mental hospital, leaving the elders to wonder about the sanity of the world. The sect's peace was interrupted by Bao Feiping, who arrived with an invitation to the mystic spirits and immortals meeting. The event was held in honor of the celestial emperor Chen Ji's return to the immortal Rainbow Palace. Late that night, Lan Hua reappeared in ghostly form, desperately warning Shen Ying about the dangers awaiting them at the immortal Rainbow Palace. He tried to tell her to stay away, but his efforts were consistently undermined by his own good heart. After a swift intervention, Lan Hua was brought into the hall, now in his corporeal form and thoroughly defeated. He revealed himself as the legendary demon prince Lan Hua, but the sect members were unimpressed by his name. During the interrogation, Lan Hua confessed to invading the sect because he claimed Shen Ying had stolen his heart. The room went dead silent as everyone processed the bizarre, semi-romantic declaration from the demon prince. The sect's journey to the heavens beyond heaven took over half a month. They arrived to find a bustling crowd of immortal artifacts, a testament to the scale of the meeting organized by the celestial emperor. To keep Lan Hua hidden, Shen Ying gave him a protective necklace. He was bewildered by her continued kindness, feeling a deep, confusing warmth that he struggled to reconcile with his demonic identity. At the grand crystal hall of the palace, the atmosphere was tense. The various emperors present watched the invincible sect members walk in, their expressions a mix of lingering fear from previous encounters and deep suspicion. A young girl named Hui Ling approached Shen Ying, her demeanor saccharine and manipulative. She questioned why a mere earth immortal was sitting among the powerful emperors, trying to undermine Shen Ying's status. Shen Ying retaliated by pouring tea over the girl and mimicking her earlier innocent behavior perfectly. The display humiliated Hui Ling and signaled to everyone present that the sect was not to be trifled with. Celestial Emperor Chen Ji entered the hall, commanding absolute silence. He acknowledged Shen Ying with a strangely warm greeting, fueling the suspicions of the other rulers who could not fathom her true power or identity. As the competition began, the invincible sect disciples followed their master's advice. Be indifferent. While others desperately fought for array flags, the sect members hid and waited for the perfect moment to strike. The true strength of the sect was revealed when the disciples transformed into body cultivators. With raw physical prowess, they crushed their opponents, effectively securing the array flags and their path to the finals. In the finals, Shen Ying confronted Hui Ling, exposing her cheat, a necklace that channeled borrowed power. Shen Ying crushed it, leaving Hui Ling powerless and terrified before the actual competition even began. The event turned into a trap when an ancient array, the Immortal Execution Array, was activated, locking everyone inside a dome of blood-red light. Chaos ensued, with ancient secrets resurfacing amidst the danger. Chu Xuan, the architect of this trap, watched in horror as Shen Ying casually pulled the barrier apart. The formidable ancient array crumbled before her strength, rendering the trap useless. Inside, Lone Moon and Yi King navigated the Illusion Valley, ruthlessly cutting down a fake Shen Ying who tried to deceive them. They knew their master too well to be fooled by mere illusions. With the valley and array finally broken, Shen Ying stood amidst the aftermath, annoyed at the wasted effort. The truth of the ancient traps and the complex history between the emperors began to unravel. Lone Moon realized that the plot had been wildly altered by their presence. With the artificial threats dismantled, the sect stood as the only unpredictable variable in a world desperately trying to fix its broken story. Despite the fate of continents and emperors hanging in the balance, Shen Ying's only concern remained her hunger. The grand designs of the heavens were but background noise to the sect's quiet, daily life. The final revelation exposed Yóu Qián's past connection to Lan Hua. A story of unrecognized mentorship and bitter regret came to light, though for Lan Hua, the past remained an elusive and largely irrelevant memory. As the dust settled, the interspatial arena stood as a testament to the sect's power. The invincible sect remained, unchanged and unbothered, while the schemes of emperors crumbled into history. Far from the battle, the sect's quiet grounds held their own brand of chaos. Radish, safely unearthed, continued its existence, serving as a reminder that life in the invincible sect would always be uniquely unpredictable. The invincible sect members retreated, their mission completed without fanfare. They left the grandeur of the heavens behind, more than ready to return to their simple, albeit strange, existence. Back on the peak, peace was restored. Shen Ying was finally served her meal, the most important task of the day. The world-shaking events of the past days faded away, leaving only the comfort of the sect. And so the invincible sect remained a mystery, a whisper in the wind, forever untouched by the plots of emperors or the threads of destiny that bind all other mortals. Life, as always, goes on. In the hidden Illusion Valley, Shen Ying and her companions finally locate their disciples. While the valley's illusions are potent, they are no match for the trio. Lone Moon and Shen Ying observe as their disciples, trapped in a dreamlike state, are finally stirred from their slumber. With a flick of his wrist, Yi King unleashes a devastating sword technique. The valley itself trembles as his sword Kai manifests into roaring dragons, carving through the earth and dispelling the false meadows, effectively breaking the core of the illusion. Recognizing the power of his opponents, a bruised and battered Yóu Qián yields. He reveals the secret of the Illusion Valley. It is merely a fragment of the greater immortal execution array, and the heart array stone is the key to it all. Desperate to avoid parting with his garments, Lan Hua finds an ingenious loophole. He coerces Yóu Qián into donating his storage bag, filling it with priceless treasures and thrusting them upon Shen Ying in an act of comical desperation. Observing Lan Hua's sudden generosity, Lone Moon realizes the emperor is a gold mine. He promptly provides Shen Ying with a bag of his own, encouraging her to accept the spoils of war as they navigate the treacherous path forward. The journey into the smog is eerie and silent. The group moves with caution, the air thick with the remnants of the array's malevolence, yet the path ahead remains oddly free of immediate danger. The source of the array is finally revealed. At the center of the formation sits Chen Ji, his body acting as a living conduit for the destructive power of the array, his blood fueling the terrifying formation. Without a moment of hesitation, the sword immortals strike. The battle for the heart array stone begins, not with careful maneuvering, but with the eager, fierce strikes of those who have waited too long for this confrontation. Chen Ji responds like a puppet, his movements fluid but lacking intent. The battle is a brutal dance of steel, as the invincible sect members dismantle the puppet emperor's defenses piece by piece. The array collapses in a violent burst of energy. Chen Ji falls, the control of the formation severed, and the nightmare of the immortal execution array begins to fade into history. The day after the battle, as the invincible sect prepares to leave, Chen Ji desperately pursues them. He lands on their boat, offering a display of awkward gratitude despite his battered appearance. Lone Moon and Yi King struggle to keep a straight face as they listen to Chen Ji's exaggerated gratitude. They have decided to let the world believe Chen Ji destroyed the array, protecting their own anonymity. Chen Ji, unaware of the truth, showers them with praise. He feels a deep, soul-stirring gratitude for these strangers who allegedly saved his life and restored his standing, not realizing his rescuers are right in front of him. As a gesture of reconciliation, Chen Ji returns the tournament prize meant for the champion. Shen Ying, ever the pragmatist, immediately hands it off to a disciple, bringing joy to the young woman's day. Chen Ji makes an unexpected request. He wishes for Yi King to take the seat of the ruler of Chonglan, believing only the Sword Immortal has the strength to govern such a chaotic land. Yi King rejects the crown without hesitation. The reason is simple, honest, and profoundly irritating to an emperor. Governing a nation would leave him with no time to cook for his master. In the distance, Zun Shu remains blissfully unaware that his fate is being debated by emperors. A sudden, unexplained shiver runs down his spine as he prepares to lead his tribe home. Back on the boat, Lone Moon challenges Shen Ying's sudden magnanimity toward their enemies. He cannot understand why she holds no grudge, but Shen Ying remains unbothered, her focus primarily on her next meal. In the midst of an intense argument, Lone Moon experiences a sudden, powerful epiphany. His cultivation surges, the very ship beneath them groaning under the pressure of his sudden ascension of spirit. The ship cracks and splinters. Yi King reacts with lightning speed, catching his master and leaping to his sword, ensuring they are clear of the shockwave generated by their elder's breakthrough. Back at the sect, Lan Hua is put to work. To pay for his keep, the former emperor is now a glorified laborer, setting up arrays and refining pills, his pride slowly dissolving into forced productivity. Late at night, an intruder enters the sect. A small, furry demon, driven by a desperate need for the spirit lamp on the table, attempts a clumsy heist, unaware of who resides within the room. Shen Ying, ever present and ever lazy, merely shifts the lamp an inch. The demon is caught red-handed, its cover blown by the very person it hoped to avoid. Panic ensues as the fox faints from the shock. The sect gathers to interrogate the thief. Lone Moon is annoyed at the security breach, but the fox remains tight-lipped, desperately trying to protect its master's identity while trembling in the face of its captors. Lan Hua reveals the item is no mere lamp, but a 10 Directions divine armament, a tool meant to recover the souls of the departed. The realization sends a ripple of shock through the room. The plot thickens as Chu Xuan is dragged back into the fray. The group demands answers regarding the fox's origin, and he reveals the connection to the celestial emperor Xin Han of Yi Shui. After a failed attempt to deliver the lamp, the fox returns with horrific news. The sect's elders have been captured by demons. The race against time to rescue them begins immediately. Shen Ying calmly deconstructs the fox's story. She realizes the fox is likely a plant, a part of a larger trap laid by enemies seeking to exploit their concern for their captured friends. With a plan formed and the fox forced to lead the way, the team sets out for the enemy's territory. They are ready to challenge the might of the demon emperors and retrieve their own. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the realm, Wu Hong is busy gathering rare herbs to send to Shen Ying, desperate to maintain his favorable standing with the sect, oblivious to the looming conflict. Deception unfolds as Bai Tai tricks Wu Hong into handling the divine refining clock, intending to capture those from the invincible sect who have recently become a thorn in his side. Disaster strikes as the truth is revealed. Wu Hong realizes he has been played, and in his desperation to undo the damage, he shatters the artifact, releasing the captives in a spectacular display of power. The invincible sect holds a makeshift court. The emperors, now firmly in their place, are forced to listen to a lecture on conduct and etiquette, with Lone Moon ensuring they compensate for their transgressions. Back at home, tragedy strikes. Xuantong's ascension takes a horrific turn as she is engulfed by unexpected flames. Her path to immortality is fraught with agony as her foundation is systematically destroyed. Seeing the child of her sect suffering, Shen Ying takes action. With a single kick, she deflects a massive fireball that would have claimed the girl's life, showing the sheer might of her hidden strength. The aftermath is grim. Xuantong is alive but shattered, requiring a miracle to recover. The path forward is clear. The group must seek out the Luo Han stone, venturing once more into the heart of the enemy's domain. The brothers' feud has reached a boiling point, transforming a legendary duel between two emperors into a chaotic spectacle. Lan Hua and Lan Yu, blinded by centuries of misunderstandings and personal grievances, have forgotten their dignity, leaving the onlookers, including the invincible sect members, shocked by the sheer absurdity of their public bickering. As the argument descends into a bizarre series of accusations regarding stolen lovers and past romances, Lan Hua finds himself baffled by his brother's claims. He insists on his innocence, unaware of the twisted path their history has taken, while the audience watches with growing amusement at the absurdity of the situation. The brothers' history unfolds, filled with accidental betrayals and bizarre misunderstandings, culminating in the revelation of the sea hare demon's gender-bending transformation. Lan Hua, who claims to be entirely innocent, realizes his single, impulsive comment from centuries ago may have caused all of his brother's heartaches. Betrayed by his own teammates who choose to distance themselves from the controversy, Lan Hua stands isolated. The onlookers, eager for more entertainment, openly switch sides to support Lan Yu, leaving Lan Hua in a state of utter disbelief as he realizes he has become the social outcast of the scene. A new fragrance fills the air as Ying Zhai, the celestial emperor of the Cloud Sea, makes a dramatic entrance. Her appearance, marked by elegance and a heart-wrenching emotional display, shifts the focus of the crowd as she seeks out Lan Hua with an intensity that promises further complications. Fear replaces confusion for Lan Hua as he encounters Ying Zhai, a woman from his past, or perhaps someone he doesn't know at all, who claims a deep, intimate connection with him. Lan Hua, feeling overwhelmed by these sudden revelations, seeks refuge behind the ever-composed Shen Ying. In a desperate attempt to prove his innocence and lack of romantic history, Lan Hua resorts to an outrageous confession. His claim of being a squab, a virgin, echoes through the heavenly gates, leaving the entire assembly of immortals, including his enemies and allies alike, utterly stunned and speechless. The truth is finally laid bare. Ying Zhai is actually the sea hare demon Lan Yu once raised. The revelation that this elegant, gentle celestial emperor is actually a man in disguise sends Lan Hua into a spiral of shock and disgust, his legs turning to jelly at the thought of their past intimacy. Thoroughly broken by the realization of Ying Zhai's identity, Lan Hua can only think of one way out: to be hidden away in a storage bag. His desire to retreat from the world of relationships and pills becomes absolute, marking a hilarious end to the most scandalous gossip of the century. The journey continues to the Cloud Sea to investigate mysterious phenomena. Far from demonic influence, the group discovers that the strange events are merely the temper tantrums of a childish, yet powerful, cloud beast. The mystery of the hole in the clouds is unraveled, revealing the petulance of a creature tied to the very land itself. When the cloud beast screams about looking for pretty sisters, all eyes shift to the innocent-looking radish. The plant's charming attempts to gift flowers to Shen Ying only serve to highlight the absurdity of the situation. Everyone wonders if all avatars are this prone to romantic obsession. The tragicomic story of Ying Zhai and the cloud beast is told. The beast's initial affection for its master was built on the lie of gender identity, a deception that has now turned into a bitter resentment. The group realizes they are dealing with a child who has been lied to for thousands of years. In an unexpected turn, the men in the group are struck by a sudden realization. Shen Ying is far more attractive than they had previously noticed. The revelation triggers a comedic reaction of breathlessness and heart-fluttering, leaving Shen Ying confused by the strange, dazed behavior of her companions. Inside the Crystal Palace, Shen Ying confronts the Cloud Beast. The creature is petty, stubborn, and obsessed with finding a pretty sister. Despite its attempt to intimidate her with sharp teeth, Shen Ying remains completely unbothered, her calm demeanor contrasting with the beast's aggressive, childish outbursts. The cloud beast transforms into its true, massive form, attempting to swallow Shen Ying whole while hurling insults about her appearance. Unfazed, Shen Ying delivers a swift, firm discipline that sends the beast crashing back down to the seabed. The cycle of childish behavior finally meets a master of authority. Order is restored as Shen Ying emerges with the now-tamed cloud beast. The beast, having learned its lesson, is apologetic and subservient. The Cloud Sea's crisis is averted, and Ying Zhai expresses his deep gratitude, though Lan Hua is still eager to escape the awkward social interactions. The competitive sibling rivalry between Lan Hua and Lan Yu escalates, with Lan Yu attempting to woo Shen Ying just to spite his brother. Their verbal and physical squabbles reach a breaking point, leaving the others watching in exasperation as they once again fight over property and attention. Disaster strikes as Chen Ji begins to vanish into a shimmering light. Before anyone can react or intervene, he disappears, leaving only mystery in his wake. Lone Moon is filled with dread as the realization sinks in that they are facing a threat far greater than a simple duel. The situation worsens as news reaches Lone Moon that more members of the invincible sect have disappeared. Chu Xuan, Xuan Tong, and others have vanished in the same mysterious, shadowy way. Panic spreads, and the realization sets in that someone or something is systematically targeting them. Desperate to find their lost friends, Lan Hua takes the risk of setting up the dangerous heart entrapping array. He uses Radish's connections and dark demonic Kai to create a path, hoping to pull their friends back across the distance. The process is taxing and filled with dark magic. The array succeeds, but the reunion is far from what they expected. Lone Moon and the others return, but in the forms of various colored radishes, their primordial spirits trapped in the vegetables. The scene is one of pure absurdity as the group tries to comprehend their new, leafy status. At the Emperor Ascension stage, the dark truth is revealed. Zai Chen and his followers are using the divine weapons and the nine-tailed white fox to force open the gate to the demonic realm. Their plan is not to reach the divine world, but to unleash the chaos of the underworld upon the realms. The climax arrives when Shen Ying casually enters the heart of the trap. Her unexpected appearance breaks the divine array and shatters the pillar of light, exposing Zai Chen as a sky fiend. The master plan unravels before his eyes, as he realizes he has underestimated the simple power of Shen Ying. The gate to the demonic realm begins to open, summoning the Demon King. The massive, intimidating presence emanating from the darkness freezes everyone present, except for Shen Ying. Her simple wave and greeting instantly turn the terrifying Demon King into a trembling mess, causing the gate to slam shut. The true scale of the disaster is revealed. The entire demonic realm has fallen into the immortal world, merging the two realms into one. The reality of their situation sinks in. They are not in a pre-written story, but a world where someone is pulling strings from the shadows, a mystery that is only just beginning. The heavenly tribulation descended upon Yi King with sudden, unprecedented fury. Unlike typical trials, this one lasted for a month, bathing the sky in unnatural purple fire that hinted at the profound power awakening within him. As the clouds cleared, the truth was revealed. Yi King had not merely survived, he had ascended to become a celestial emperor. The sheer pressure radiating from him confirmed his new status, leaving Lone Moon in a state of shock. With the invincible sect in ruins, Lone Moon took charge of the logistics. He decided to relocate the entire sect to the Bo Sea, the territory now assigned to Yi King as the new celestial emperor. The arrival was swift and unceremonious. The disciples stood at the gates of the heavenly palace, yet the expected grand welcoming committee was nowhere to be found, save for a single terrified guard. Pao Hui, the managing immortal guard, emerged with a thin veil of fake hospitality. He claimed the guards had abandoned their posts out of fear of the demonic realm, but his eyes betrayed a deeper, more arrogant resentment. When Pao Hui attempted to bar entry to the treasury, the patience of the invincible sect finally snapped. With a single strike of his sword Kai, Yi King shattered the defensive array, asserting his authority. Lone Moon refused to tolerate the insolence. He ordered Pao Hui's immediate dismissal and removal, proving that the invincible sect would not be held hostage by the palace's old guard. With the palace under control, priorities shifted. Yi King, ever the chef, sought to convert the magnificent vast sky hall into a kitchen, much to the exasperated disbelief of Lone Moon. The invincible sect's efficiency was unmatched. Within a month, the palace that had been paralyzed by strikes and empty excuses was suddenly functioning perfectly, managed by the sect's own loyal members. As the coronation approached, 15 country emperors arrived at the Bo Sea. They came not to celebrate, but to pressure the new emperor into reinstating Pao Hui, hoping to test his resolve. The emperor's protest was short-lived. When they finally found Yi King, he was in no mood for diplomacy. Armed with a spatula and his sword, he chose to reason with them through strength. The day of the coronation defied all expectations. The celestial emperors from across the world arrived in person, bearing generous gifts and showing profound respect, leaving the visiting country emperors completely baffled. Just as the ceremony reached its peak, the sky plummeted into darkness. A massive wave of demonic energy signaled the arrival of the Demon King and his forces, sending a wave of panic through the gathered immortals. The tension broke in an instant. The Demon King, bypassing all others, knelt respectfully before Shen Ying, offering his services with terrifying, boot-licking sincerity that left the entire palace speechless. When the Demon King finally realized he was addressing the wrong person, he simply pivoted his compliment, calling Yi King the Emperor Chef with unshakable enthusiasm, leaving the onlookers in total, bewildered silence. That night, the Demon King brought grave news. Rumors were circulating that the previous Demon King, long thought dead, was still alive and hidden somewhere in the depths of the demon world. Guided by the Demon King, they arrived at the mysterious Joyous Melody Valley. To their shock, the uninhabitable region was actually hiding a sprawling, bustling demon city, proving that the previous Demon King had been playing a long game. Before they could even plan, the previous Demon King, Zhan Ting, literally dropped out of the sky before them, wounded and desperate, looking more like a runaway husband than a fearsome leader. They followed the pathetic Demon King to a white palace, where he proceeded to beg for forgiveness from his wife with embarrassing displays of emotion, completely ignoring the presence of the others. Out stepped Yóu Qián, a former Bo Si celestial emperor whose presence radiated a purity that put the entire demon city to shame. She had been living here, effectively keeping Zhan Ting in check with her cold indifference. When Shen Ying drew a mysterious pendant pattern, the atmosphere shifted. Zhan Ting recognized it immediately. It was the God Fiend's mark, a signature of the primal creator of the demonic race. To lure the legendary God Fiend out, they forced the Demon King to make a vow using his soul and the God Fiend's mark. The sky split open, and a crimson bolt of divine punishment struck down. They were whisked away to the God Fiend's divine abode, a realm existing outside the three realms. There stood the Creator himself, a man who had manipulated the merge of worlds to save the river of forgetfulness. The God Fiend handed over a letter as proof of her consent for the transmigration. The moment she read the message from her sister, Shen Ying's casual demeanor evaporated, replaced by a sudden, intense, and fearful obedience. Terrified of her older sister's influence, Shen Ying immediately agreed to all the God Fiend's requests, abandoning all pretense of resistance. She dragged the others back to their reality as fast as humanly possible. Chaos greeted them upon their return. Xuan Tong, the young disciple, had vanished without a trace, her disappearance leaving no sign of struggle behind. The sect was in an uproar as they scrambled to locate her. Desperate, they turned to Chen Ji and the heart-entrapping array. He volunteered to channel his energy to reach out to Xuan Tong, despite the physical toll it took to be a catalyst in the ritual. The contact was fleeting and agonizing. Xuan Tong's soul was being pulled by an unknown force, her voice stuttering through the static of the array before she was wrenched away into the void again. The only clue left behind was a flower that had absorbed the kidnapper's strange, cold energy. The aura was neither immortal nor demonic, a chilling presence that even Radish feared to touch. Forced into another vow by the unrelenting Shen Ying, the Demon King summoned the God Fiend again, desperate to uncover the truth behind the strange aura and find their lost disciple. The God Fiend revealed that Meng Po had vanished, a crisis that threatened the very cycle of reincarnation. He struck a deal: locate the missing goddess in the divine underworld, and he would show them the path home. The decision was made, not because of the God Fiend's manipulation, but because the invincible sect never abandoned its own. They would descend into the divine underworld to reclaim Xuan Tong and save the cycle of life. Without further delay, they triggered the Jade Pendant. A surge of golden light enveloped them, tearing through the fabric of reality and hurling them into the depths of the divine underworld. They landed in a treacherous ancient forest. A newly ascended black dragon, brimming with newfound divine arrogance, charged at them, only to be effortlessly humbled by the immovable presence of Shen Ying. Emerging from the forest with their reluctant reptilian guide, they reached the Lotus Assembly. Amidst thousands of divine beings, they stood in line, ready to find their disciple and challenge the mysteries of the heavens. Shen Ying and the Black Dragon approached the divine barrier, unaware of the chaos about to erupt. With a wink and a promise, she leads him toward a test that will reveal his true nature to the heavens. The sword array triggers instantly, forcing the black dragon to reveal his true, ancient form to avoid being skewered. The celestial assembly watches in stunned, fearful silence as a dragon descends upon the sacred lotus grounds. Caught in the wrong direction, the dragon sprints for his life, only to be intercepted by a golden lotus of the supreme divinity. The trap is sprung, sealing his power and dragging him toward the heart of the mountain. Before the council of gods, the black dragon is accused of shattering a divine mystic rock. With the weight of the heavens against him, his desperate protests fall on deaf, indignant ears. Shen Ying steps out of the shadows, her nonchalant admission of smashing the rock silencing the room. The gods, unable to detect her power, brush her off, further cementing the dragon's tragic status as a scapegoat. The council decides the dragon's fate: exile to the dragon abyss. He is forcefully dragged away, his pleas for truth ignored by the very beings who preach divine justice. Abandoned on the harsh terrain of the dragon abyss, the black dragon finds himself surrounded by familiar, searing dragon energy. His wounds begin to heal, but the location itself feels more like a trap than a refuge. The arrival of two female dragons brings a chilling realization. They do not see a prisoner. They see a candidate for a grim role, a husband-in-waiting for their mysterious, elusive, supreme divinity. When the dragon resists the humiliating label, the women transform into massive, powerful dragons. The black dragon is pinned, his scales ripped away, crying out for the exalted goddess who simply watches the chaos. The skies part to reveal the supreme divinity herself. Riding a dragon of living fire, she descends, her presence so overwhelming that the two warring dragons immediately revert to human form in submission. The black dragon is left speechless. The supreme divinity, cold and ethereal, orders his release. The encounter sparks an unexpected infatuation in his heart, complicating his desire to flee. Driven by his newfound desire, the dragon pleads for a chance to serve the goddess. The path of his journey shifts from survival to a desperate, perhaps foolish, chase for love. The goddess accepts him, but not for romance. He is tasked with incubating a massive, mysterious dragon egg. The black dragon's dreams of love crumble under the reality of his servitude. Devastated, the dragon returns to Shen Ying, lamenting his fate as an incubator. While he pours out his misery, Shen Ying remains focused on her snack, entirely unfazed by his emotional breakdown. Suddenly, the egg appears on its own, rolling through the halls to seek out the exalted goddess. The scene turns absurd as the egg shows a strange affinity for Shen Ying. Shen Ying examines the egg with a critical eye, wondering if it's edible. The black dragon is horrified, knowing that this is the supreme divinity's only son and not a meal. The supreme divinity returns to find her child missing. The palace begins to crumble as she lets out a roar of fury, her divine power manifesting as red-hot destruction. In the face of the goddess's wrath, Shen Ying remains still. She reaches up, grabbing a massive dragon tooth with a single hand, halting the supreme divinity's assault as if it were nothing. The egg finally cracks, revealing not a hatchling but a frail child. The golden radiance of a true dragon illuminates the chamber as Shen Ying catches him, a familiar soul within a new form. The child, fragile and weak, opens his eyes. He recognizes her instantly, whispering the word master with his remaining strength. The truth hits Shen Ying, it is her disciple, Chef. Reunited, the pair immediately resume their dynamic. Despite his fragile child form, Yi King takes his place at the stove, serving the divine delicacies that Shen Ying has missed so dearly. Attempting to control his newfound divine power, Yi King accidentally reveals his true form, a legendary golden dragon. The house collapses around them as his raw potential pulses with ancient strength. Shen Ying uncovers the truth of Yi King's suffering, ghost immortal Yin Kai hidden within his eggshell. This dark, parasitic corruption was designed to drain his spirit before he could ever hatch. Long Zhen marches to the Phoenix territory to confront Feng San. Their reunion is explosive, fueled by years of misunderstanding, betrayal, and the hidden truth of their son's attempted murder. Old passions ignite alongside the flames. Feng San admits his love and explains his ignorance, but the wounds of decades are not healed by words alone in the heat of battle. A strange twist brings Lone Moon into the fray, disguised as a bride and caught in a desperate hostage situation. The arrival of the sex administrator turns the tension into an awkward family drama. Reunited at last, the sect members bicker. The tension of the rescue mission is undercut by the absurdity of their situation, leaving Lone Moon fuming at his sect master's lack of urgency. Following the trail of Yin Kai, they descend into the divine underworld. They set a trap, using Lone Moon's immortal soul as bait to lure out the ghost immortal who kidnapped the sect's own. The ghost immortal strikes, driven by a madness born of lost souls. The battle erupts in the dark abyss as the enemy targets the immortal soul, unaware that they are the ones trapped. With one effortless motion, Shen Ying suppresses the ghost immortal. The enemy's frantic attempts to capture a soul are rendered useless beneath the weight of her indifference. They discover a hidden soul-splitting array deep within the cave. The horrifying sight of souls being torn apart reveals the depth of the enemy's cruelty as they search for the remains of Shorty's soul. The final clues lead them to the 1,000-Feet mountain. Amidst the floating crystal peaks, they find Shorty caught in the crossfire of gods, signaling the beginning of their final rescue operation. Following the restoration of the 1,000-Feet mountain, Bai Zi reveals a path to salvation for the soul-damaged Xuan Tong at the sacred spirit spring on Bai Yun Mountain. Qián Yu grants the group permission to depart, his gaze lingering with an air of hidden complexity as the truth of their journey begins to unravel. The group flees the mountain, their concern deepening as Xuan Tong recounts the encounter with a shadowy, yin-wielding ghost immortal targeting her very soul. Amidst the tension, Shen Ying finally registers the presence of the divine being Bai Zi, affectionately labeling him as the furball. They arrive at Bai Yun Mountain, a serene sanctuary of divine power and lush wildlife, starkly different from the harsh, cold peaks of their previous journey. Knowledge of the divine underworld is shared, revealing a free-range realm where divine beings, beasts, and rare artifacts coexist without rigid territorial borders. The mystery of Qián Yu's identical appearance to Lone Moon lingers, as Lone Moon reflects on his path from an ascended mortal divinity to his current form. Seeking to impress Shen Ying, Bai Zi lures her away to a secret lake, offering her a 1,000-legged beast as a culinary gift. The duo arrives at the serene lake, where Bai Zi finally prepares to purge the demonic beasts that have long plagued his otherwise perfect domain. The guardian of the lake, a being known as 1,000 Legs, surfaces with nervous excitement, ready to assist the supreme divinity in clearing the waters. With a flick of his wrist, Bai Zi unleashes a torrent of divine energy, instantly vanquishing the encroaching green sand demonic fish. The surface is soon littered with the harvest, and Shen Ying beams with joy, anticipating the upcoming feast chef will prepare. As a gesture of gratitude, Shen Ying generously rewards the guardian with a rare treasure, leaving the creature overwhelmed by her unexpected kindness. Returning to the temple, Bai Zi attempts an awkward, romantic gesture, offering Shen Ying a beautiful black spirit blossom. The romantic tension reaches a breaking point as Yi King witnesses the scene, his jealousy fueling a surge of protective and murderous intent. A heated discussion ensues, with Yi King and Lone Moon demanding clarity regarding Shen Ying's interaction with the divine suitors. The investigation takes a turn as Shen Ying reveals the true purpose of their excursion, presenting the collected corpses as evidence of a deeper problem. Recovered and rejuvenated, Xuan Tong prepares to rejoin the group, unaware of the grim revelations waiting to be discussed. The horrifying realization hits. Xuan Tong, Yi King, and Bai Zi are all missing fragments of their souls, a side effect of past encounters with ghost immortals. The life mirror confirms their worst fears. The missing remnant souls create a void, leaving the affected individuals vulnerable to an unknown manipulator. The chaos deepens as Zhu Ming arrives, reporting that Mother Feng has fallen into a state of spiritual disarray. The group finds Mother Feng in the underworld, her soul splintered and consumed by intense, ancient grievances. Through her wails, the long-buried betrayal of her husband is revealed, her rage manifesting as a destructive, grievous aura. The manipulator is revealed as Qián Yu, a guise for Bayan Xinchen, who has long been sacrificing others to achieve his selfish, heartless Tao. With a single, decisive move, Shen Ying humbles the arrogant god, stripping him of his stolen power and exposing the fragility of his stolen divinity. The destruction is set in motion. Bayan Xinchen's final gambit triggers an earth-destroying array, threatening to swallow the very essence of the underworld. The true mastermind, Hongyu, emerges, aiming to destroy reincarnation itself in a twisted quest for his version of eternal life. In a moment of chaotic brilliance, Shen Ying shatters the stage, halting the destruction and revealing Xu Tong's true identity as Meng Po. The journey takes a final, bizarre turn as they are transported back to their original world by the God Fiend, leaving their divine lives behind. The secret is out. Shen Ying's sister, the plane manager Shen Jing, makes a chilling appearance, revealing the truth of their existence. A diagnostic test reveals that Shen Ying possesses power beyond standard parameters, a phenomenon that even her sister finds deeply concerning. As the sisters confront the mysteries of their plane, Lone Moon begins to realize that their entire reality is governed by rules far more complex than he ever imagined. After transmigrating into a strange, reality-bending world, the protagonist Shen Ying and her companion Lone Moon find themselves trapped in a high-tech holographic test. Lone Moon, originally a cultivator from a different realm, struggles to comprehend this artificial reality that feels disturbingly real. Through a digital interface, Shen Ying reveals that Lone Moon has been trapped in a newbie test. As he escapes, he discovers that the reality he entered is not just a game, but a real, physical planet within the vast Star Alliance. Upon meeting in the safe zone, Shen Ying casually explains that their game is in fact a dangerous planet inhabited by real, lethal creatures. The revelation that death here is final sends Lone Moon into a state of existential panic. Lone Moon discovers he is an SSS-grade player, a rank far exceeding the typical inhabitants of Earth. Realizing his cultivation base remains intact despite the absence of Spirit Kai, he feels a surge of thrill at the prospect of power. With his cultivation unlocked, the once terrified Lone Moon realizes the monsters are no match for him. The game, initially a prison, transforms into a playground of power where he dominates the rankings. The pair ventures into the dangerous District S, only to realize the game expects them to fight massive herds of creatures. Lone Moon's excitement quickly turns to dread as the scope of the threat reveals itself. The battle is relentless. Thousands of beasts charge, but with Shen Ying's effortless help and Lone Moon's refined sword skills, the carnage is absolute. Their points soar to the top of the leaderboard. Their efficiency draws the attention of the game system. Labeled as an anomaly, the duo is forcefully banned from District S. Lone Moon is furious, his hard-earned points erased in an instant. Forced into District A, Shen Ying insists they recruit a nanny to assist them. Lone Moon is horrified to find that their specialized assistant is merely a sentient, fruit-bearing tree alien. The mission in District A turns chaotic when the beasts prove capable of duplicating. Lone Moon finds himself overwhelmed by a sea of jelly creatures, while their nanny hides in a hole. With a burst of lightning, Lone Moon clears the horde. The mission is completed, but the frustration of the game leaves him eager to return to the real world and explore the cosmos with his own powers. Back in the apartment, silence is broken by a sudden, ominous warning. A massive anomaly is detected in the plane. An invasion is imminent. Shen Ying recognizes the urgency and prepares to intercept. They arrive at the coordinates of the breach. The sky twists, and a colossal golden sword emerges from the void. Lone Moon prepares for a fight, but his expression shifts when he spots the figure stumbling out. It is Yi King, having fought his way through the void for 3,000 years. He is severely wounded and exhausted, finally collapsing upon seeing his master. For days, Shen Ying uses the advanced technology of this world to repair Yi King's broken body. Lone Moon watches with concern as the once powerful cultivator lies in a death-like slumber. Yi King finally wakes. He is weak, disoriented, and terrified that his reunion with his master might be a dream. The sight of his master eases his 3 millennia-long agony. Lone Moon helps Yi King adjust to modern attire. The transition is awkward. The powerful supreme divinity now resembles a confused teenager, his traditional habits clashing with the new world. Shen Ying takes a moment to care for Yi King. The simple act of brushing his hair heals the deep psychological wounds of his lonely journey, binding him even closer to her. Yi King immediately returns to his familiar role of cooking for Shen Ying. Though the kitchen is filled with strange appliances, his skill is unmatched, turning the apartment into a home. The moment of peace is shattered by Shen Jing, Shen Ying's sister. Terrified, Shen Ying forces the group to hide under the table, hoping to avoid her sister's wrath over their unauthorized actions. Shen Jing isn't fooled. She confronts Shen Ying, demanding to know why she has brought invaders into her plane. The air in the room turns freezing as she threatens to purge them. Seeing no other option, Shen Ying unleashes her ultimate weapon, acting like an innocent child. The change is so effective that it causes Shen Jing's resolve to collapse instantly. Shen Jing agrees to give them a test to earn a residency permit. They must disinfect a planet of death. Yi King, using his immense power, transforms into a phoenix, shattering the planet's surface. With Father Niu's financial prowess, earned from selling creature corpses, they purchase the necessary explosive devices. The planet of death is destroyed, proving their ability to manage a plane. They travel to meet another plane manager, Zhu Yao. To their surprise, she is deeply engrossed in a video game, oblivious to their arrival, while her stoic master stands nearby. During the examination, a powerful diagnostic system is used. Instead of finding a bug, the screen labels Shen Ying as a boss, revealing that her power level exceeds even that of the managers. Back home, Yi King confesses his intense, selfish desire to remain Shen Ying's only disciple forever. His raw, sincere declaration baffles Shen Ying, but leaves Lone Moon laughing uncontrollably. Following Lone Moon's advice to see how it goes, Shen Ying impulsively kisses Yi King. The gesture is meant to test their bond, but the sudden appearance of an enraged Shen Jing makes the room go cold. Lone Moon is left to face Shen Jing's wrath. He is beaten black and blue, a victim of his own matchmaking efforts, as Shen Jing vents her frustration over her sister's growing independence. With a heavy heart, Shen Ying forces Yi King to undergo a data reload, sending him back to the lower realm as a child. She vows to find him, beginning a new journey to protect her disciple and take control of their destiny. In the vast and mysterious divine realm, Shen Ying, a woman who long ago traversed from her mundane life, finds herself in a desolate village. Her journey brings her to the doorstep of a mysterious young boy, a child who would later be known as Yi King, whose humble, dilapidated home hides a destiny far greater than he understands. The boy, struggling with the basics of survival, offers the only food he has, 2 salted fish. Unbeknownst to him, this simple act of hospitality is the start of a legendary bond that will span lifetimes. Shen Ying, unfazed by his lack of culinary skill, reaches into her pocket dimension. With a casual flick of her wrist, she produces an endless supply of high-quality ingredients, baffling the young boy. Though he claims to have never cooked, the boy's hands move with a mysterious, preordained grace. Under his touch, the ingredients transform into a feast, as if his soul remembers skills from a life he has yet to reclaim. The aroma of the meal fills the tiny shack. Shen Ying eats with gusto, ignoring the mounting questions on the young boy's face as he realizes something extraordinary is happening. When the feast concludes, Shen Ying gifts him the storage bag. It is not merely a container for food, but the first step toward a future he cannot yet conceive, tying his destiny forever to hers. But silence is fleeting. A young neighbor named Jing Kai arrives. Behind his mask of innocence, there lies a calculation that doesn't belong to a child, marking the arrival of conflict. Jing Kai claims they are connected by their shared misfortune, but Yi King senses something inherently wrong in his words. The atmosphere thickens with a tension that neither fully understands yet. Driven by greed and a false sense of superiority, Jing Kai barges into the home, his eyes locking onto the remnants of the feast, casting aside any pretense of brotherly friendship. Shen Ying does not tolerate freeloaders. In a swift, almost absurd display, she clears the table before the boy can touch a single bite, leaving the room in a stunned silence. Night falls, and with it comes a familiar figure, Lone Moon. He is not just a companion to Shen Ying, but the grounding force that monitors the fragile balance of the plains, sensing that darkness is approaching. Lone Moon warns of shifting karma. He knows that the peaceful village is a facade. Demons are stirring in the shadows, drawn to the chaotic energy gathering near them. Despite the danger, the boy refuses to cower. When the scream of a neighbor echoes in the night, his protective instincts ignite, and he rushes out, heedless of his own safety. He is swiftly caught by a tiger demon, a creature of savage hunger. The monster laughs, ready to devour the child who dared to defy him. But Shen Ying arrives just in time. She finds the sight of a demon bullying a child to be a mild annoyance rather than a threat. With a single, dismissive motion, she buries the demon into the earth. The sheer force of her power sends a shockwave through the village, permanently altering the landscape. In the wake of the battle, the boy finds his purpose. He kneels, swearing his loyalty to Shen Ying, accepting the role of disciple with a heart full of unaccustomed fulfillment. Lone Moon cleans up the mess, sealing the village against future attacks. It is time to leave the mundane world behind and guide the boy to the Honesty Sect, where his true training can begin. They arrive at the Honesty Sect, a place of sword cultivation. It is a middle-tier sect, struggling but honest, and perfectly suited to forge the foundation of the boy now named Yi King. The sect master, Lu Hong, greets them with overwhelming enthusiasm, seeing in these powerful newcomers the salvation of his declining sect. But Lone Moon is unimpressed. The Honesty Sect is impoverished, their best treasures are little more than junk. He sighs, realizing he must revitalize the sect himself to ensure Yi King's progress. With a wave of his hand, he plants an immortal vein into the peak. The spiritual energy explodes, transforming the humble mountain into a source of immense power, lifting it toward the sky. Now the training begins. Lone Moon forces the boy into meditation, realizing that Yi King's body is a dormant divine vessel, capable of absorbing spiritual energy at a terrifying, natural speed. Training is a serious affair, but Yi King has developed a habit of chattering away at Shen Ying, his questions never-ending, turning the stoic boy into an unusually talkative disciple. At the disciples' hall, Yi King encounters Jing Kai once more. The orphan from the village has become a disciple elsewhere, but his eyes still burn with an old, unexplained bitterness. A conflict erupts over stolen spirit herbs. Jing Kai shows off an unnatural fire spell, defeating his opponent with a casual, cruel efficiency that draws gasps from the watching crowd. The masters of rival sects arrive, seeking their new protege, Jing Kai. They attempt to intimidate the Honesty Sect, but Lone Moon stands his ground, his presence dominating the hall. Lone Moon sees what others don't. Jing Kai is not alone. A dark, intrusive presence clings to his soul, a remnant of a failed plane intrusion that defies common logic. The threat escalates. Demons surround the sect, desperate to find the spiritual orchid that Jing Kai had stolen. They demand blood, but they have marched into the wrong lion's den. Lone Moon wipes out the demonic army with terrifying ease. He transforms the wolf monarch into a gatekeeper, a living reminder of the fate that awaits those who challenge their domain. In the safety of the peaks, Yi King pushes himself to the brink, his sword intent finally beginning to sharpen into a lethal edge. He is ready to become the protector his master deserves. The Honesty Sect has become a beacon of power, but trouble brews in the distance. Jing Kai has fled, and a far greater danger approaches, one that will test the bond between master and disciple to its very limit. Lone Moon arrives at the Mystic Realm's entrance, surprising everyone with his sudden, suspiciously close camaraderie with Dong Wu, the sect master of the powerful Divine Heaven sect. The business of cultivation is always paramount, and Lone Moon clearly has a plan in motion. As the disciples gather to enter the Mystic Realm, the Honesty Sect stands out. While other sects focus on strategy, Shen Ying and her disciples are busy obsessing over food and chores, leaving the onlookers baffled by their lack of urgency. The arrival of the arrogant Wu Xiang and his disciples, including the familiar face of Jing Kai, changes the mood. Jing Kai has grown and possesses an unstable foundation establishment aura, harboring a dark, hidden jealousy toward Yi King. With the formality of a sect master, Dong Wu commands his disciples forward. Yi King bids a firm farewell to Shen Ying, and the Honesty Sect group plunges into the swirling light of the Mystic Realm. Business remains the top priority. Lone Moon negotiates a deal with Dong Wu, while Lu Hong is left to count the spirit stones, realizing that the Honesty sect functions perfectly fine without him at the helm. Deep inside the mystic realm, the Honesty sect disciples operate like a well-oiled machine. Unlike others scavenging for herbs, they hunt demon beasts with a single-minded, ferocious focus under Yi Qing's quiet authority. After a grueling battle, the disciples fall exhausted, their energy spent. Yet Yi Qing remains standing. In an act of uncharacteristic selflessness, he gifts the rare fifth-level spirit pill to a disciple, leaving them completely stunned. Terror strikes as a sixth-level fire whose beast tears through the trees. It's a challenge far beyond their reach, but the disciples look to their young uncle master to save them yet again. With a single, effortless display of power, the fire hooves beast is felled. The disciples are left speechless, not just by the victory, but by the strange sight of Yi Qing methodically carving up the demon beast for meat. The disciples are moved to tears, believing their young uncle master is carving up useless meat as a humble sacrifice to spare their pride. They follow him into the depths, more devoted than ever, unaware of his simple hunger. After 20 days of hunting, the group is ready to return, but a green floral signal halts them. An SOS from the red and green sect rings out, demanding their attention. They arrive at a pitch-black, boiling swamp. In the center, a young girl named Niu Niu clings to a tree, trapped and desperate as the demonic aura threatens to pull her under. The trap is set. The swamp attempts to swallow them, but Yi Qing reacts with desperate speed. He pushes his disciples to safety, even as he sinks deeper into the mud, his sword Kai exhausting itself. Miles away, Shen Ying pauses mid-meal. A brief, sharp sensation pricks her, but she dismisses it, unaware that the one she trained is currently being consumed by the depths of a dark, ancient swamp. Yi Qing sinks into the darkness, but his resolve holds. He surrounds himself and the girl with a protective dome of sword Kai, shielding them from the swirling wall of demonic wind blades. They land in a vast, subterranean relic. The girl recognizes him as the boy from next door, Mother Wang's granddaughter, now a disciple of the red and green sect. They are trapped, and the danger is far from over. They encounter Jing Kai, who has been trapped for 3 days trying to penetrate the demonic barrier of an ancient mansion. The animosity between him and Yi Qing is palpable, despite their shared village origins. They find markings suggesting the barrier requires 3 people to break. Jing Kai proposes a pact, but his shifty eyes betray his intent to betray them the moment the wall falls. The barrier cracks, and true to form, Jing Kai darts through the opening, leaving Yi Qing and the girl behind. He seeks the relic's power, fueled by years of bitterness and a desire for superiority. Yi Qing dispels the remaining barrier with ease and walks inside, leaving Jing Kai stunned. They explore the mansion until they find an active array formation, the largest and deepest room in the relic. The relic reveals a memory, an image of Yu Zhu, the myriad demon king. He speaks of a lost era where humans and demons lived in harmony, guided by a mysterious, powerful entity. The mansion begins to crumble as the relic self-destructs. From the ruins, a giant stone statue of a woman holding a fruit-like artifact emerges, pointing toward the sky. Yi Qing stares in shock. It is Shen Ying. The stone statue reveals an exit. Yi Qing escapes, met by his disciples who feared him lost. They are jubilant, but Yi Qing's mind is elsewhere, troubled by the statue of his master in an ancient demon relic. Back at the sect, Yi Qing is restless. He finds himself watching over Shen Ying at night, haunted by the mystery of the statue and an inexplicable need to protect her. The boundaries between master and disciple seem to blur. When Shen Ying confronts him about his behavior, the situation turns bizarre. She teases the 16-year-old Yi Qing, unaware of the deep, conflicting emotions brewing within him as he tries to understand his role as her captive disciple. Lone Moon's business acumen flourishes. The sword array has turned the Honesty sect into a powerhouse, attracting disciples from all over who are eager to pay handsomely for a chance to train. A sect competition is organized, with the Honesty sect hosting. Lone Moon maneuvers the politics perfectly, ensuring the Divine Heaven sect provides the resources while his own sect reaps the prestige and profit. At the competition, Lily, the girl from the relic, spots Shen Ying and hugs her, calling her big sister. Yi Qing is visibly jealous, shielding his master from the girl's enthusiastic affection. The final showdown arrives. Jing Kai, fueled by his dark inheritance, challenges Yi King to a duel, eager to cement his status and exact his twisted revenge before the entire assembly. The duel turns dire as Jing Kai unleashes forbidden power. But Yi King, driven by a protective fury when Jing Kai insults his master, summons an overwhelming, dragon-shaped sword intent that leaves everyone in awe. Yi King's epiphany forces an immediate breakthrough. As he ascends to the soul formation stage, a dangerous, red lightning tribulation appears, threatening to tear him apart unless Shen Ying intervenes. The tribulation ends, and with it, Yi King's memories return. He is no longer just the young disciple, but the formidable being he once was. The balance of their strange trio shifts as he fully embraces his past. In the mysterious plane, the trio encountered Jing Kai, whose body began to swell in a bizarre, impossible pregnancy after consuming the legendary Spring of Life. This set into motion a series of events that would force the invincible sect to confront their past. With his god power restored, Yi King shattered the assistant seal binding him. Shen Ying opened a portal back to the invincible sect, leaving the unconscious Jing Kai in their care as they returned to their long-lost home. They arrived at the invincible heavenly palace, finding it unnervingly empty. The sect, once bustling with life, was silent and abandoned, with no signs of struggle but absolutely no disciples left. Lone Moon discovered the sect's giant radish struggling in a trap in the herb field. Upon seeing them, the vegetable creature burst into tears, crying out that the sect master had returned. The giant radish bounded to the back palace, finding Shen Ying snacking as if nothing had happened. It wailed in relief, begging the sect master to save the missing disciples who had been captured by the new Demon King. Before they could depart, the space around them tore open. Lan Hua and Yu Hong fell out, covered in blood and injuries. They had barely survived the new Demon King's wrath. Lan Hua revealed that the original Demon King, Little Black, had vanished. A mysterious usurper had taken over the demon world, kidnapping Yu Hong and hunting the invincible sect disciples. Noticing Yu Hong was fading, Shen Ying intervened. She forcibly extracted a mysterious, thick purple energy from Yu Hong's body, realizing it was an intruder's residue. The palace shook as the demon world's forces arrived, surrounding the invincible heavenly palace. The 10 Sky Fiends, led by the usurper's orders, demanded the surrender of Yu Hong. When Shen Ying stepped out, the arrogance of the demon army vanished. The Sky Fiends, recognizing the godlike power that had once defeated them, immediately collapsed into a state of panic and begging. To save their own skins, the Sky Fiends brutally attacked their own comrade who had dared to threaten the sect, begging for the great god Shen Ying's mercy in a display of pathetic opportunism. The demons revealed that Little Black had disappeared while preparing a dowry for Yu Hong. The new Demon King was a complete mystery to them, yet he clearly harbored dangerous intent toward the sect. While the leaders were occupied, the new Demon King infiltrated the palace. He cornered a healing Yu Hong, demanding the return of a stolen item, a jade hairpin given to her by Little Black. The Demon King's threats were cut short by Shen Ying, who had been sitting in the room the entire time. The intruder realized in horror that he could not sense her cultivation level at all. The Demon King attacked, but his blade shattered against Shen Ying's hand. She effortlessly subdued him, revealing that the darkness surrounding him was actually a predatory energy eating him alive. Analyzing the Demon King, Shen Ying realized his existence was a contradiction, half immortal, half invader. He was a creature displaced by a tear in the fabric of their plane. Guided by Yu Hong, they opened the Demon King's secret treasury. It was a surreal garden filled with romantic, pink-tinted decor, Little Black's clumsy attempt at creating a home for his beloved. They found Little Black alive, hiding within his own mystic treasury. His reunion with Yu Hong was interrupted by his sudden realization that their guests were present. The moment Little Black saw Shen Ying, his bravado vanished. He collapsed into a pathetic heap, begging the great god not to separate him from Yu Hong. Investigating Little Black's dowry, they found an ancient box. When placed near the stolen purple gas, the items reacted, creating a massive, terrifying burst of pure, high-level immortal energy. Back at the sect, the crisis shifted. Jing Kai was going into labor, and his body was clearly failing to contain the power within him, signaling an impending spatial disruption. Jing Kai's stomach erupted with blinding white light, shattering the palace building. From the epicenter, a figure emerged, not a child, but a stranger from another world. A golden-haired, winged being materialized. He spoke with a bombastic, fake divine voice, claiming to be the light god and demanding the sect members kneel and worship him as his slaves. The light god's speech was abruptly terminated by Yi King, who effortlessly slapped him into the mud. The intruder was revealed to be an illiterate, incredibly weak manager of a different, foolish plane. Shen Ying, seeing the pathetic god was actually starving for the spring of life to save his own world, simply gave it to him and kicked him out, sealing the portal behind him. Just as they settled one crisis, the demonic realm erupted in light. A pillar of white energy was cleansing the realm, causing demons to suffer as their very essence dissolved into the beam. The pillar was anchored by a complex, layered array that absorbed immortal Kai. Lone Moon and Yi King teamed up, using god power to shatter the structure and extinguish the cleansing light. With the array gone, the land split open, revealing a terrifying spatial tier. Shen Ying tossed a plane repairer, which looked suspiciously like a giant band-aid, to seal the rip before the whole world collapsed. Investigating the source of the chaos, they entered the god fiend's divine realm. They found it desolate, collapsing, and completely empty of the ancient god's presence. Back in the command center, the star map erupted with warnings. Hundreds of planes were collapsing simultaneously, a sign that a massive, pre-existing structural failure was finally catching up to them. While Lone Moon panicked, he found his companions blissfully occupied, roasting a pseudo-dragon and relying on Radish's biological blooming ability to repair the planes in massive, efficient batches. Following the trail to a hidden world, they entered a palace holding a mysterious purple lamp. As the gate slammed shut, a voice welcomed the manager, marking the start of a new, darker mystery. The journey of the manager, Shen Ying, formerly a normal soul before transmigrating into this world, reaches a critical turning point. Trapped in an alien plane by invaders, her companions Lone Moon and Yi King find their powers stripped away by a hostile array, leaving them at the mercy of enemies who blame them for the collapse of their own world. As the invaders close in, intent on ending the lives of the plane's managers, the danger becomes absolute. Lone Moon, pinned and desperate, cries out for help as the purple flames draw agonizingly close to his throat. In an instant that defies all logic, Shen Ying intervenes. With a mere sigh and a casual grip, she shatters the weapon of their assailant, effortlessly claiming her mantle as the true manager of the plane. The power dynamic shifts instantly. With her strength unsuppressed, Shen Ying treats the attackers like mere playthings, sending them flying into the crumbling architecture of the hall, bringing their assault to a swift, humiliating end. But the victory is cut short. Driven by absolute madness and despair, the defeated invaders trigger a final, catastrophic act, causing the very fabric of the plane to rip open. The world teeters on the brink of total annihilation. Facing the end, Shen Ying reveals her true, unconventional methods. With a simple red box, she halts the destruction of the world, locking the crumbling plane within a protective stasis field that rivals the power of the gods themselves. Amidst the aftermath of the collapse, the absurd nature of their existence prevails. With the threat temporarily contained, Yi King prioritizes dinner, setting a proper table in the middle of a star-filled void. Finally, the conversation turns to the history of their plight. Hong Meng recounts the tragic story of two neighboring planes that tried to combine their strengths to survive, only to witness their own world collapse into nothingness. Hong Meng reveals the betrayal they suffered at the hands of the local god fiend, a figure they once trusted, who robbed them of their resources and exiled them to the outer realm, leaving them with nothing but burning hatred. The god fiend stands unrepentant, claiming his ruthless actions were necessary for the survival of this world. Just as a fight is about to break out, Shen Ying interjects with an offer: she will return the world they lost. Shen Ying points them to a discovery hidden in plain sight, their own original source of power, hidden and thriving, waiting to be reclaimed. The hope of restoring their lost world begins to ignite within them. Having ensured the safety of the world and orchestrated a path for his former enemies to heal, the god fiend accepts his inevitable end. He dissolves into light, finally at peace, his long burden of duty at an end. With the god fiend gone, Shen Ying focuses on the final task: In a feat of raw, creative power, she strikes the void, separating heaven and earth and carving out a new home for the displaced spirits. Even while birthing a plane, Shen Ying remains Shen Ying. Her grand work is punctuated by her insistence on a lunch break, leaving her companions both in awe and perpetually exasperated by her priorities. With the plane stabilized and justice served, they return to the quiet life of their sect. Yet, no sooner have they returned than the responsibilities of leadership call and the trivialities of sect management await. Lone Moon plunges into the books, expecting chaos after years of Lan Hua's reckless spending. To his utter shock, the sect's finances are not only stable but have actually prospered, leaving him both pleased and deeply suspicious. A wave of peace washes over the sect as Yu Hong and Little Black finally tie the knot. The entire realm joins in the celebration, setting aside old feuds to honor the union. The party is interrupted by the sudden appearance of the returning sect master. Her casual presence sends shockwaves through the attending dignitaries, who remember her terrifying reputation all too well. The joy is cut short by a dark, burning manifestation. A surge of grievous energy erupts at the very heart of the ceremony, and in the chaos, Yu Hong and Little Black vanish without a trace. Shen Ying captures the source of the corruption, a dense, screaming ball of grievous energy. Her only concern, however, is whether it might serve as a snack, much to Yi Qing's distress. The energy contains a soul, a timid, clueless mortal who knows nothing of his own death or why he brought this darkness into the mortal world. He is a puzzle that offers no leads, only confusion. The platform reveals the source of the disaster. A forced gate to the lower realm has been carved out by the grievous energy, providing a trail that suggests Yu Hong and Little Black have been dragged into a world far below. With no time to waste, the pair prepares for a rescue mission. Lone Moon provides the necessary supplies, resigned to the fact that his reckless companions are heading off on yet another unpredictable journey. They arrive in a world thin on Spirit Kai, a landscape completely foreign to them. Yi Qing immediately seeks out his missing comrades, but Shen Ying's relaxed pace suggests she has other, perhaps more culinary, plans in mind. Their journey leads them to a desolate, haunted county. It is a city of ghosts, trapped by an unknown force, where the boundary between the living and the dead has been violently torn apart. The hauntings they encounter are almost pathetic. A group of ghosts, desperate and lacking direction, put on elaborate, terrifying performances in an attempt to scare away the intruders, completely failing to intimidate the pair. The comedic relief ends in an abrupt display of fury. A clumsy ghost accidentally pulls on Yi Qing's clothing, sparking a surge of murderous, frost-covered sword Kai that threatens to freeze the entire city in place. Discovering the river of forgetfulness misplaced in the sky, they begin the process of returning it to its proper place. With sheer force and manipulation of spiritual energy, the river descends to cleanse the trapped souls. A local cultivator named Tang Han appears, mistaking them for members of a legendary secret clan. His earnest, mistaken belief leads them toward a new contact, a potential source of truth in a confusing world. To hide the ghost song Ren in the city, Yi Qing forces him to possess a common object. When presented with kitchen vegetables, the ghost chooses a dandelion flower, becoming an unlikely and comedic vessel for his soul. They arrive at the center of the mystic Taoists, where news of an impending catastrophe spreads like wildfire. A massive wave of deviant ghosts is on the move, threatening to swallow the last bastion of hope. The deviant ghosts arrive, a terrifying mass of remnant souls driven by collective grievances. Just as the defense wavers, a powerful heaven master named Yun Heng steps forward, radiating a blinding light of merit to stall the horror. A clash of ideologies emerges. While Yun Heng attempts to purge the ghosts with a soul-destroying array, Yi Qing recognizes that the remnant souls do not deserve total erasure, and he intervenes, breaking the array and sparking a confrontation. The battle is halted as Yun Heng calls for a pause. The tension in the air is thick, and the true reason behind the deviant ghost's plight remains a mystery that the sect master must now address in this standoff. The story follows the transmigrator Shen Ying, who, along with her disciple Yi Qing, finds themselves in a world plagued by deviant ghosts, remnant souls gathered from the broken pieces of the dead. As Yi King confronts a local cultivator, the truth begins to unravel. Yi King rejects the brutal soul-extinguishing array, choosing instead the righteous path of the future life, array to guide these tortured remnants toward reincarnation in the underworld. With a flick of his wrist, the terrifying black clouds of ghosts dissipate, replaced by gentle lights returning to the eternal river. The surrounding mystic cultivators stare in absolute shock at this display of true cultivation. Returning to the safety of the inn, the duo discusses the mysterious moldy ghost, Song Ren, whose heavy grievous energy continues to cling to him like rot, demanding a more creative solution from the unconventional master. Unbothered by the supernatural, Shen Ying treats the suffering ghost like laundry, shaking the grievous energy right out of him until the black corruption falls away like dust. The door opens to reveal Yun Heng, whose body glows with such intense merit that he appears to be a walking light bulb, catching Shen Ying's immediate, amused attention. Yun Heng seeks guidance, terrified by the implications of the future life array. Yi King realizes these cultivators are trapped by incomplete knowledge, using crude methods to extinguish spirits instead of healing them. The realization hits. They don't even know how to gather spirit Kai. They are talented, yet their entire world's cultivation system is built upon a fundamental, ancient misunderstanding. Shen Ying and Yi King decide to pull in Father Niu, Lone Moon, to deal with the logistics of starting a brand new school. He is less than thrilled to be dragged into their mess, but the mention of five-elemental mixed spirit roots piques his interest. Lone Moon arrives with a flair for the dramatic, creating a floating palace in the sky to impress the locals. It is a calculated move to ensure the mystic cultivators take their teachings seriously. The stage is set for the invincible sect to recruit, with the local cultivators lining up in awe. Lone Moon begins the arduous process of training sword cultivators from a population that has never known true spirit Kai. The transition to grain abstinence is brutal for the new disciples, who spend their training time drooling over Shen Ying's aromatic meals. Lone Moon keeps his discipline firm, refusing to yield to their hunger. As tensions rise, Song Ren, the mischievous, reborn ghost, finds endless joy in tormenting Yun Heng, their relationship marked by a deep, inexplicable animosity that puzzles the masters. The absurdity reaches a peak when Song Ren discovers his body, constructed from radishes dandelions, is sprouting new growth. He panics, convinced he is suffering from a grave illness, while the masters try to explain the botany of his condition. A new crisis erupts in the north. Yun Heng brings news of a massive gathering of ghosts, compelling the sect to test their new disciples in the field for the first time. They arrive at the desolate northern land. The disciples stand firm, their formations holding against the biting Yin Kai, proving that Lone Moon's strict training methods have finally paid off. Lone Moon forces Yun Heng to lead the ritual. Despite his fear and lack of practice, the golden light eventually blooms, casting the remnant souls toward their path to samsara. Disaster strikes. A surge of hidden grievous energy lashes out, snatching Yun Heng away and dragging him toward the dark, northern horizon, leaving the masters in shock. With Yun Heng gone, Lone Moon realizes that Shen Ying has vanished yet again. Panic ensues as he desperately tries to track his elusive, directionless sect master. They finally track her down to a desolate, fog-covered plain. She sits as if waiting for a friend, completely ignoring the dangerous aura of the place. The truth is revealed. The river of forgetfulness has been shattered, its pieces scattered, and a massive plainstorm is tearing reality apart in the north. An illusion shows the man from the past, the man whose life is inextricably tied to Yun Heng's, sacrificing his own soul to seal the storm, a tragedy repeated across 4 lifetimes. Yun Heng finally remembers his past, realizing the burden of guilt he carries. He resolves to pay the price, offering his own soul to grant Song Ren the chance at a true rebirth. The sacrifice is made. Yun Heng fades into light, successfully granting Song Ren a physical form and a clean slate, finally balancing the scales of their tragic karmic bond. With the river of forgetfulness restored and the plain crack sealed by their combined efforts, the northern lands finally see the sun, and the world begins to heal. Back at the palace, Song Ren is reborn without memories. When he sees Radish, who provided the dandelion for his body, he intuitively bows and calls him father, leaving everyone speechless. The return of Yu Hong and Little Black reveals they were trapped by the very grievous energy they sought to escape. A fit of jealousy later, and Little Black is sent flying into the distance. A gift from Hong Meng arrives, a legendary bird capable of producing supreme-grade spirit stones. Shen Ying, however, only cares about how it would taste deep-fried. The laughter dies when Shen Ying collapses, her vitality draining away. She whispers that she must enter a deep, long slumber, leaving the sect in absolute panic. They contact the manager, Shen Jing, across the dimensions. She is furious to learn that Shen Ying has opened a new plane, an act that has pushed her into this dangerous, forced dormancy. The divine realm itself trembles under Shen Jing's rage. With the passage sealed and the sect master fading, the path ahead remains shrouded in uncertainty and desperate hope. They are now alone, guardians of the one who guarded them. The sect holds its breath, waiting for the return of their master, while the echoes of Shen Jing's warning haunt the silent halls. The invincible sect enters a period of quiet vigilance. The storms have passed, but the master of the house remains lost in a dream that no one can reach. The silence of the palace is absolute. For now, the only way forward is patience and the unwavering faith that the master of all things will eventually open her eyes.